Ugh, who are we missing?
All right. How's it going, everyone? You guys there?
Oh, hello.
Good. We're waiting. Of course, the two lefties' cameras aren't working, and one is late.
I blame Obama.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough. The lefties always have that as an out.
Let's go, Brandon.
Oh yeah, let's go, Brandon.
Oh yeah, that was the fuck. How does that even sound like fuck? Fuck Obama sounds nothing like let's go, Brandon.
It was fuck
Apparently
Joe
you
Biden.
don't. Yeah, you don't.
I mean, sorry.
And the media was like, let's
No,
go,
there was
Brandon.
a race car driver that was being interviewed by a news reporter, and the crowd in the background was chanting "F Joe Biden," and she was like, "Oh, isn't it nice that they're saying let's go, Brandon?" Because that's the guy's name.
Oh, okay.
So that was the whole start of that meme.
So it's not that it actually sounds anything like it. It's
No,
just
it's just
that
a
was that
meme.
one
Yep.
person's. Gotcha. All right. All right. Let's do this. Welcome, everyone.
No, I can't.
You can't hear?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
You can? Oh, thank fuck. Okay.
Can you hear us?
Yes.
Oh, okay. You're
It
good.
was sketchy for a second. I'm sorry.
All right. No, have some confidence. Let's
Okay.
go. All right. Okay. So we have, of course, it wouldn't be a panel with progressives and left-leaning people if one person wasn't late. You see the right-leaning people; they're always on time. They're none of them had any issues. The left-leaning people, they had audio issues, everything kind of issues. And Stardust is gonna be late.
Yeah, she's a diva.
Yeah, she's a big streamer now, so it's understandable. Just you guys wait until I get that big, and you'll never see me again. All right, let's get started. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome, and NBs and people of all kinds. Welcome. Hope you're doing well on this Sunday evening. We have another amazing panel for you. And tonight I have some incredible guests. Some that you may know, some that you may not know, some that I know, and some that I don't know. I think actually most of you guys I know pretty good now. All right, let's just jump right into the introductions. And
doing
then
great,
after
Stickpole. Thank
introductions,
you.
I'll tell you the topics, the rules, and it's going to be an amazing time. Thank you guys so much for coming. All right, let's go to my first guest is a BAMF. Put your hands together for Crunch Lord. What is a BAMF?
Badass motherfucker.
Oh, a badass motherfucker. If you had typed that, I would have sold it way better.
It's better that you didn't know when you had to ask.
All right, can you, you're kind of quiet. Can you say something so I can adjust your levels?
I can turn the gain up on you.
Yeah, give me a little gain.
All right. Let's do this.
All right, awesome. Welcome. How are you doing, Crunch Lord? You're interesting person. You sent me some music to review before. You shoot guns with one hand in the wild. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm just living the dream one nightmare at a time.
Interesting. And you're a frequent flyer. You told me you were in
Korea.
Korea? Yeah. So is your time zones all fucked up?
Yeah, they're still. Yeah, I had to come back from work and then go right back to work. I got off on a plane and then had like 8 hours of sleep and then worked that whole week. It's fun.
Jesus.
Sometimes. But the travel pay is good, so.
Fair enough. Welcome. I guess nowadays with like Netflix and shit, you can probably fucking keep yourself entertained.
I watched Squid Game in a hotel in Korea, so it's kind
beautiful.
of a big deal.
Beautiful. Yeah, were you looking out the window and shit?
Yeah, I was like, oh shit, I want to play.
All right, welcome. I'm glad to have you. Tell us a little bit about yourself. What are your politics?
Fantasy world, I'd like to just cut the power and live in the woods, but you know, I live in the here and now, and so I'm mostly right wing on a lot of issues. Sometimes
Gotcha.
you'll catch me slipping, and I'll be like, oh, that's chill.
All right, fair enough. I'm excited to have you. Welcome. All right, let's go to my next guest. Is Princess of the Moon. Has no consistent hair color and is occasionally attacked by a cat midstream. Zath, how are you doing this evening?
Super true. I am doing well, even though I thought that you guys couldn't hear me for a minute. Little panic attack, but we're good now.
Yeah, listen, it's not about how you perform in practice. It's about how you perform in the real game, and you're performing right now.
Oh, okay, great. I did it.
Um,
I
tell us a
win.
little bit about yourself.
I'm a variety streamer, I guess now, because I've been on a couple of panels. I play video games, not very well, but I like them. I have 2 cats that frequent my channel to say hello to everyone.
How
And I'm super happy to be here.
So, speaking of cats, what are you? How do you feel about having to live with someone who terrorizes you like these cats do?
I mean, they keep me on my toes, which is great.
Great, that's exactly what people want in their home, to be kept on their toes. Sounds like you're another victim. Blink twice like this if you want us to send help. Oh, okay. She seems to be all
Staring
right.
directly
I
into
still
your
don't believe.
eyes.
I still don't believe it, to be honest with you. But okay. How long have you been streaming for? I can. What's your name, by the way? I can't even. I don't know what to pronounce it as.
Oh, it's Zathareth. So,
Zathareth.
yes, there you go.
Interesting.
See, you did it.
Is it
First
like
try.
I've never heard this name before. You made this name up?
I did make it up when I was in when I was in middle school. So it holds like a really sentimental place in my heart. I just kept the name
Looter.
for like an online presence
Gotta
for a
come
really
for the
long time, and
memes,
I was
man.
like,
Come
I'm
for
not
the
changing
memes,
this.
Looter.
Nice.
So
Well,
here I
welcome.
am.
It's gonna be a fun stream, man.
Zathareth. I'm gonna try
gonna
my
try to
best. I
twist
might just
these,
call you Zav at some point.
Zath
Try
is
to
what
twist these
everyone calls
topics to
me
like
for short.
as
Cool.
far as I can to make actual
Welcome.
content out of it.
Can you tell us a little bit about your
It's gonna be
politics,
interesting.
or?
I'm a filthy lefty.
Ooh, the
Through and
worst
through.
kind. The
I
worst
know.
kind. All right.
And left-handed.
And you're left-handed?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I didn't know that.
It's
That's one of my.
synergy.
That's one of my rules. I don't have any left-handed panelists on my stream.
Oh, okay. Eat shit.
Tell me. I should have told me. I'll have to mark a little star beside you. All right. Let's go on to the next guest. Welcome, Zathareth. Let's go on to the next guest. Is someone who can be found on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube at Biggs8500 for each. He's a center-right libertarian that focuses on freedom and practical solutions. Mr. Biggs, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you to all the other panelists for being here tonight. I'm looking forward to this conversation and just looking forward to see how things go. It's gonna be interesting.
Are you the person who used to think that your beard was on par with mine?
I don't think anybody's ever said anybody's beard was on par with yours.
Oh, okay.
I just happened to be on the panel last time, and it happened to be when we were on the Hippy Dippy that it was the first like 5 people in there all had beards, but you definitely had the best beard of them all. Okay.
All right. He knows how to get on the host's good
Oh
side.
yeah. Oh yeah.
How long have you been streaming for, Biggs?
So I've been streaming more regularly, probably the last like 6 months or so. I streamed way back in like 2012, back before all this like Twitch politics stuff, when all it was like video games. You know, God forbid anybody talk about those. But I've been around for a while. I dip my toes into the political stuff. I just think it's a lot more interesting. I do stream video games occasionally, but mostly I'm here for the memes and for the panels and the discussions and like you introduced. I try to focus on like real solutions, practical and pragmatic policies, because I think that the majority of people actually kind of want the same things. It's just kind of getting us all on the same page of what avenue to take to get there. And I think if we can meet in the middle and find ways to move forward, I think that's the best way to go. And along with that, I try to lean more towards freedom when in doubt, because a lot of things are very obviously very specific to people's personal views and things like that, and very nuanced. And in those cases, I think the best option is to kind of lean more towards freedom when in doubt. But obviously, anything in moderation is probably the best.
Well, I'm really excited to have you. I like level-headed people, and I'm really excited. Let's see what comes out. I'm interested
Thank
to
you.
hear everyone's takes on these topics. All right, let's go on to now. This is my mistake as a booker to book a guy named Biggs and then another guy named Binks, all on the same panel. Binks is my next guest. His thing just says my next guest is a blurb. Put your hands together for your name. Biggs, how's it going, buddy?
I'm good, Dr. Out. I didn't understand the instructions until everyone started doing theirs. Sorry. But I'm happy to be here.
Were you a product of the American education system?
I was.
All right. Well, I'm not going to hold that
Speaks to it.
against you. I'm not going to hold that against you. How are you doing, Binks? I'm already going to fuck this
You
up.
already
1,000.
started it. I'm good. I'm good. Just hanging out. I'm ready for some fun.
You also help host the recruitment panel on the Hippy Dippy recruitment panel, is that right, or something along those lines?
Yeah, I've hosted Dylan Burns's the Hippy Dippy recruitment show and the Sunday show, which was the far superior show, but it was only like 3 episodes because it was too chaotic. Yeah, I've I've hosted debates with all chickens. I invented.
What does that mean?
It was a bunch of chickens.
Yeah, so that's one of the things.
But,
I gotta
talking about a
see
bunch of
this.
stuff,
That
so I'm gonna
sounds
try to take
amazing.
it
Sounds like it could be more
towards
productive than the usual debates we see on
the
Twitch.
trigger society that we currently live in. That's what I'm gonna try to take.
That's what I'm here for.
We'll see how
bring high
Awesome.
quality content.
Awesome. I'm excited to have you. Welcome. And for now, my last guest, and for now, not my least guest. We got to still wait for Stardust. But for now, my next guest is a Twitch streamer who also produces a video series called Left of Left for Act.tv on YouTube, Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire. Put your hands together for the one and only James from the internet. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, yo.
What's happening?
What's going on, brother? How are
This is
you?
gonna be a fun
Good,
stream, I
good.
think.
James and I spent 2 hours yesterday memeing.
By the way,
about
everybody,
food,
Stardust is
life,
gonna be on here,
and
so you
everything
know
in
she's gonna
between.
be
That
bringing
was
the
fun.
fucking
Thanks for having me
fire.
on last
So
night.
you know.
Of course, you made the day.
How? Tell us a little bit about yourself, James. I think a lot of people know you; they're familiar with you. How long have you been creating content for? Actually, that's a good question I can ask you.
I was a first wave field live streamer, so I used to stream protests, civil actions, riots with an iPod 4 Touch.
Really?
And a clear 2G wireless hotspot.
Sick. So you would have like a backpack one or something?
I mean, I had a backpack for batteries and other crap, but no, it was literally an iPod and like a hockey puck with a button on it.
Amazing. And you were at the all the main ones, right? The ones in New York. What am I? The Wall Street ones.
Occupy Wall Street.
Yeah, that's
a ton of Black Lives Matter. No KXL pipeline protests. I've been around the country. My footage has been on every network. I get interviewed by talking heads every once in a while, and I'm far enough to the left where you get your guns back. Just
okay. The worst kind of leftist.
Based.
Yeah. The worst kind of leftist. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much for coming on. I know it's been a while since you did panels, I guess, or something. This is your foray back.
The last panel I did was the second ever Dylan Burns Hippy Dippy podcast, probably over a year ago.
All right. Well, I'm glad to have you. And let's see. Okay. Stardust says she'll be on any minute. Let me just see how many minutes she's actually talking about.
Typical diva behavior. Coming in late. She's probably just hyping up her own stream, talking all about us. Probably watching us on stream, making fun of us. That's how she rolls.
All right. I can't have you attacking other panelists, Mr. Biggs. You're going to have to wait. All right. I'll go over the rules and then we'll introduce the topics and get started. So, guys, remember, please respect one another. Even in disagreement, there's a right and wrong way to do it. And if I sense that you're being disrespectful to other panelists, I will call you out on it, and I might even have to mute you. Please respect Twitch TOS. Don't use any slurs or insults that are based on people's immutable characteristics. If I interrupt you mid-sentence, please allow me, as 99% of the time, I'm doing it to clarify what it is that you're saying. If I can't understand what you're talking about, trust me, people in chat can't understand it either. Try to act in good faith and be as charitable as you can. And at the start of each topic, I'll give you a couple minutes to give your take. And then after everybody does that, we'll get into an open discussion. And then I'm kind of over closing statements, to be honest with you. Fuck the closing statements. We'll go until we exhaust the topic. And then we'll just move on to the next topic, okay? And last rule, most importantly, Try not to be boring. I've got a viewership to maintain, okay? Most importantly. And have fun, okay? Let's do it.
If it gets boring, just pull out that ukulele behind you or whatever that is and start strumming along. I think that'd be
Nah, I'm
good.
just gonna go like this. Boring alert! Boring alert! All right.
Perfect.
Now, all right. So let's go on to the topics. Let me pull up the topics. Boom. So I've got 3 really interesting topics. 2 of them are topical. One of them is more it's always topical, I think. So let's get right into it. The first one is Colin Powell. Is it Colin or Colin?
Colin.
Why is it spelled Colin though? Anyways,
It's colon.
Colin. Okay. Colin Powell just passed away. Do you think he was a war criminal? Is it wrong for people to, quote, celebrate his death? And yeah, tell me what you guys think. I'm not too familiar on Colin Powell. I remember him vaguely. He was associated with the Bush administration, but I'm curious to hear what y'all's takes are. I saw some people that were like hip hip hooray, other people saying this is wrong, whatever. And yeah, let's kick it off. I want to hear from. Let's go with Biggs. Biggs, let's hear your take on this.
Yeah, so Colin Powell, I think, was actually a pretty good guy in general overall. Was the first African American Secretary of State. He also was the 12th Chief Justice of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. What I do have a problem with is that he seemed to be one of those that was mostly a speed bump, but not an actual stop for the establishment kind of like military-industrial complex. Made things like the whole Powell Doctrine, which basically made specifications for why we should go to war and what things we should do when we're going to war and what should what thresholds should be met before we can go to war and things like that. But what actually ended up happening was he was behind both the Gulf War as well as the Iraq War once he was Secretary of State. And then now, previously before he passed away about the 5 or 8 years, somewhere in that ballpark, he kind of went from being a Republican to a Democrat when he started to see the populist movement rising up, which leads me to believe that he was more of an establishment kind of crony, was just serving as like a backstop for like saying like, oh, we want to stop the wars, but not really stopping any wars and things like that. As far as being a war criminal, I don't think he was. He had served as I forgot which branch of the Army. I want to say Army, but maybe different branch of the military. But he served in Vietnam. I read a very interesting article about he was solely responsible for saving 3 other soldiers from a helicopter crash in Vietnam. So and things like that really makes me think he is a hero. I think he was a good guy. But I think as he got later in life, he became more of a pundit for the establishment, and that's where I kind of lost a little bit of respect for him. But again, I want to see how this conversation goes, but I'll leave it at that.
Cool. Thank you so much. All right, let's go to Zadharith. Did I get it?
Close enough.
Okay. Fuck. What does it say one more time? Zadharith.
Yeah, there you go. You did it.
All right.
Just kind of it is what it is.
All right. All right.
Thank you, everybody, for hanging out
Zadharith.
tonight, by the way.
Oh wait, actually, before you do that, hold on. Woo, woo, woo. I'm airdropping in another guest.
Yay!
Oh my gosh, it's Stardust.
Fashionably late.
Just as we got kicked off, she couldn't even make it right before the intros ended. All right, we'll just wait for her.
Oh, yeah, it's fine.
All right. Hello, Stardust. All right. We're gonna cut this out.
I think.
By the way, okay, hang on. Before you do this, if you're watching this on YouTube right now, now is a good chance for you to subscribe and hit that bell button and leave a comment. Let us know what you think of the panelists
Thanks,
so
I
far.
appreciate it, man.
I know
Thank you
you've
so
heard a
much.
lot of their takes. I know you've heard a lot of their positions, but now's a good chance for you to weigh in while we wait for Stardust. And anyways, you know what? Fuck it. Let's go on. Zadharith, why don't you tell us what you think about this topic while Stardust figures her shit out?
I think that her headset is muted, so I don't think that she can hear that we're They were trying to
I don't-
get her attention, but it's cool.
I don't
It's
know
fine.
why that would be the case, but
Um,
anyways, go on. Tell us what you think.
So it's
What's up? Just ask
are
Miles.
we,
How you doing?
Oh, hey,
is
Stardust.
she there?
Hey,
Hey.
Good to see you. Thanks for coming. First of all, is everything okay?
everything's fine now. Yeah, thank you. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. Shit happens. Welcome to the panel. Yeah, first of all, last night I had a blast on your panel. That was so much fun.
I'm
Stardust panels are
glad.
the best.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And thanks for coming out, Stardust. We were just talking about the first topic, which was the Colin Powell situation. And we're just in the first little bit of the introductions for what do you call it? The intro statement for each person. Right now, Zathareth is about to
Going
weigh
great.
in, and then
Miles, thank you.
yeah, I'm
You want to
Chilling
I caught
introduce
you up.
with my
Stardust
homies,
first?
having a panel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let me introduce
Talking
Stardust.
some
Thank
awesome
you for
stuff.
reminding me. Stardust. Who is
On the
Stardust?
panel,
You might
hang
be wondering.
around, but
She's
if
wearing
not, that's
normal
cool
clothes
too. I
today,
appreciate
but she is a
any support
Twitch
at all.
streamer,
Thank you.
show host of Chaos Cast, and occasional debate broad. You can. By the way, this is what she asked me to say. I would never call her a debate broad. You can find her at www.twitch.tv/stardust_ with no vowels. And we're going to actually ask her about that in a second. And on Twitter as well, totally running a cult, definitely not harvesting organs. Stardust. Why do you hate vowels so much? Do you have an animosity against vowels?
I just thought it looked cooler.
It does
to
look
have no
cooler.
vowels, yeah.
It rolls off. It kind of rolls off the tongue in a weird way. I don't know. I like
Yeah,
it.
thanks.
All right. Thanks for coming on. All right,
Thank
Zab,
you for having me.
let's go back to you. I wanted to hear your opinion on the Colin Powell situation.
I mean, I don't think that it's very cut and dry. I think that he did what I think that he did a lot of what he was told to do.
I think that this person doesn't know what they're
in
talking
his
about.
various positions. I think that and I think that like once he like retired
person
or
didn't, prep for the panel.
or what have you, that he did feel like some remorse, and he after the attack on the Capitol in January, he stopped, like he denounced
I
the
probably shouldn't
Republican
make fun. I don't know
Party
who this
for
person
the
is,
most
so I
part.
don't know
So
story, but it does seem like they
I
did
mean,
not prepare for
I
this,
have
at least
respect
this
for
topic
somebody
anyway.
that
And it was a tough
can
topic, to be
grow as a
fair.
person as time goes on. But like, I mean, he was
Most of
responsible
these
for the
people on the
Iraq
internet these
War.
days weren't even alive when Colin Powell was relevant.
He lied. He lied to our government.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they're a
So
lovely
that's
person.
like
Definitely.
very much not okay. But you know, you
In
do
the
what you
middle
have to in
reminds me
certain
of, like,
situations. He was really
buddy.
well respected for the most part.
I know
So
I've seen him before, but he reminds me of like somebody like
for
famous
him to have lied like that
guy.
for like the Bush administration was
The guy that does the interviews with the
certainly something.
celebrities that has like the
Fair
that
enough.
talks really funny.
I think I kind of
like
agree
a
with
younger
you.
version of it.
It's like there's something to be said about someone who can grow at some point in life. But yeah, thank you so much for weighing in. By the way, speaking of lying, do you think it's inappropriate when people lie and say they can make it on a panel at a certain time and then they're unable to appear at that time? Do you think that what Colin Powell did was on the same level, Zathareth? What do you think about that?
I think that you should lay off of my girlfriend.
Oh, so you have a biased opinion. Okay. Let's go over to Binks. Binks, what do you think about this?
Yeah, so was Colin Powell a war criminal? I mean, probably, but I think it's important to remember he's the first minority Secretary of State war criminal. He broke through the glass ceiling. Now anybody can be a war criminal in America.
He paved the path for
I think that's
Obama.
beautiful. That's equity. You know what I mean?
Pave the
respect
path for
the dead?
Obama.
You know, I think we should respect the dead. I don't like having bad juju on me, but you know, I think there's a public figure caveat to that. I don't know. And I mean, Colin Powell was
that like politically
popular,
correct
like,
these
what,
days? I don't
20
even
years
know.
ago at this
Am I
point?
gonna
Like,
get
I was a
canceled for
baby
saying
when
that on my
this dude
stream?
was like a thing. You know, are we going to be pissed off when Richard Nixon dies? Like, it's silly. All right, that's it.
I'm sure a lot of people will be probably. But
This guy's
all right,
pretty good. I like Biggs.
let's go over to Mr. Internet,
Banned, yes, / banned.
the original 2G live streamer.
All right, Alex, I'm gonna go with Colin Powell was somewhere between a ghoul and trash. He single-handedly cemented the deaths of more human beings than COVID in the United States for the last 2 years. He was a career bootlicker, whitewasher, and overall assistant to people who wanted to do
This guy
global
came
imperialism
fucking with
whenever they
fire.
wanted. And only after he was out of office and had absolutely nothing left to lose did he decide to rehab his image, much like George Bush, who is now
This guy's
painting
fucking
watercolors of dogs and
Yes.
has a 70% popularity
Oh my
rating.
gosh, this guy
Should we
right
be
on point.
glad he died? I mean, I don't revel in the death of anybody. I don't think anybody should be rooting for the death of anybody because, well, that would make you on the path to being Colin Powell, who I just told you was both foolish and trash. However, I will say that the world is most assuredly a
Remind
slightly
me in
better
chat,
place
guys. Do
now
not
that
get in an
he is
argument
gone.
with this guy because he will
All
probably
right,
crush me.
that was
'cause I
a
am
very
too
nicely,
drunk and too
very
stoned
nicely put.
to deal with that type of based ass
All right,
shit.
let's go over to the Lord of Crunge, or some people call him the Lord of Cringe. Actually, what do you think about this topic?
Yeah, I think it's just low class to cheer on somebody's death unless they're like, you know, Hitler or Stalin or somebody that like actually went out and killed people. But
Gosh, I don't want to defend
on the Colin Powell
but I
thing,
feel like I
I
need to like do.
don't think he's completely relevant in this day and age. I know he I wouldn't say he
hasn't been relevant
single-handedly
since,
got
like,
us into the Iraq
2005.
War because the Cheney administration single-handedly got us into the Iraq War. I feel like passing the buck on to him because he died is weird. But yeah, I mean, the guy served his country, continued serving. There were other good things he did, like there was in 1993 or something, he helped set up democracy in Haiti. Read that somewhere, and you know, he called the Darfur genocide what it was, and that was a genocide as well when nobody else was using that word. So that's my
Ron's
take.
coming in with the
All right,
zero fucking.
and lastly,
takes.
let's go to Stardust. Did you catch your breath yet, Stardust? Are you all caught up?
Gonna come in mute. Oh, she's
Yeah, I
Okay.
am.
Good.
So yeah, I guess I'm not somebody who really likes to celebrate people's deaths, but you know, I did it for Osama bin Laden, I guess. So I mean, maybe I'm a little hypocritical. Yeah.
comparing Osama bin Laden to Colin Powell.
Honestly, like we can call all these people war criminals, but and every politician I feel is a war criminal of some sort. It's
Oh
not
my
really
gosh, really?
profound to call somebody a war criminal
Maybe.
to me at this point. You know, it seems like a lot of people have done a lot of bad things in the name of America and the name of, like, you know, the West or whatever. Just doesn't really particularly stand out, I guess, at this point. So
All right. All right. I'll kick it off to open discussion. If anybody wants to jump in right away, you can raise your hand and I'll go over to you, I guess. Anybody want to start it off? All right, go ahead, Biggs.
Yeah, so I think it's kind of funny that Stardust compared Osama bin Laden's death with Colin Powell. Just to want to throw that out there a little bit, but overall, I think that James from the internet really hit it on the head. The problem that we have now currently with just politicians in general, and I think what Stardust was saying as well, is that they're really just they're all for gathering power to themselves and to their friends, and they don't really care about the people in general. And I think that's the whole problem with the current like establishment government entities that we have in general. You know, we have people like Pelosi who have been in power for whatever 50 years almost. Biden, who was in politics for 47 years. What's his name? Why can't I think of his name? The turtle guy. The fuck's his name?
McConnell.
McConnell. Yeah. McConnell. Like, they've been in power for so long, like they don't care about the people. They just want their establishment stuff. That's why they just make their backdoor deals and do things like that. And I think that's where we need to kind of focus on. That would be my take on this. And as far as like Colin Powell goes, I don't think anybody really wants to celebrate anybody's death. But we do have the right to criticize people post-mortem in general. Obviously, when people die, that brings up like news headlines about that, and then people discuss it. But I think anybody that's online, happy and celebrating this, I think they're kind of just like trash and ghouls, like James from the internet, or sorry, yeah, James from the internet. I had it right. Okay, James from the internet said. I just think that, but he did do things in his life that I do think were good. So maybe I wouldn't go that far per se. If he did save lives, if that story's true about him in Vietnam saving the helicopter crash, things like that. Like I'm sure he wasn't just doing things maliciously. And once he got into power, maybe that shifted. Maybe he thought he could maybe take some power, and then like James said, and some others have said, like kind of made a point to like cleanse his image, so that way he could be seen as a better legacy. And maybe that is something you could say was more self aggrandizing from what he was trying to do, but we don't know that. So but yeah, I just think that the bigger issue here is the establishment, politicians from both sides. I don't want to just pick on the left, because I know the right's the exact same way. That's why I try to come from more of a moderate perspective and try to just focus on like how we can actually make real change.
Okay. Can I ask? Yeah, James, go ahead. Do you want to?
No, I was just going to throw out there. So, I know that I go really hard on the whole George Bush, rehabbing his image thing, Colin Powell doing the image rehabbing, and a lot of, let's say, the amalgamation of the center right, center left, all kind of like usually get on the apology train for these people who, again, were ghouls. It's worth noting that the same people who think that Roger Stone is literally the devil are also the same people who are like, Colin Powell, whatever. And meanwhile, Colin Powell has been cleaning up war crimes for the, quote, machine and the Republicans and the Democrats for, let's see, 70, 80, 90. He did that for
Exactly.
about 40 years.
Yep, exactly.
So again, I'm not just poo-pooing the guy because he said a thing and then Iraq. Like, he's literally he did this for decades. Like, for as long as Roger Stone was lying for politicians, going back to Nixon, Colin Powell was lying for politicians going all the way back to Nixon.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to ask, like one thing that you bring up, James, which is an interesting thing that we could definitely talk about, is like a lot of times these people can't be held accountable when they're in power, and then after they're not in power, like Crunch Lord was saying, he hasn't been relevant for 100 years, whatever. It's like, when can you hold them accountable? And because as soon as they leave, it goes right into like defending and rehabbing their image mode. And I wonder what you guys think about that.
I mean, you can't go after him.
Yeah, like it's kind of other, because basically what we're saying now is like, just do whatever you want, and you'll never ever, nothing will come of it.
The powerful will only go after the powerful if they steal from or screw over other members of the powerful. This is the rule of thumb. When you are part of the ruling class, other members of the ruling class don't hold you accountable for crimes against peasants. This is how that whole thing works.
Yeah, I mean, and to be fair, like, I don't think Colin Powell would have cared if he said mean things about him on Twitter. You probably have more bigger concerns.
Yeah, and I think to that point, Dr. Heem, I think we need like actual, still tangible guidelines for what these people should be held accountable for, right? Like, I think right now we have this like ambiguous, like, oh, they did bad things, but there's really no like firm like line of like what can they do and what can't they do. If they cross that, what can't they do, then we should, as the people, should be able to hold them accountable. And I think that that needs to be something that needs to come from like bipartisanship and things like that. Like, we need to have it from both sides, because otherwise, if it comes from like one side or the other, it's gonna be like party politics whenever it gets done. But if we can have like an agreed upon like threshold or something, I don't know how we'd get that. Like James said, like the powerful don't want to harm themselves or put rules in that are going to affect them. Obviously, they just want to focus on keeping the lower classes down. But like, I think if we as the people can find a way to like hold these people, like actually have a threshold of say, hey, if you do this, X happens. Things like that. Like, I don't know, maybe I don't have quite the idea of how we could do that, but like maybe that's something we could try to push for, something like that. I guess maybe
like standards.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like standards, right? Like,
We already have standards and laws. They're just not applied equally.
yeah, but I mean, like, what could you say, like, as far as like what Colin Powell actually like did that would be something that we could use, and say, hey, this was clearly violated.
Yeah, I guess that's a good question. Why don't James? Do you know the history, or if anybody else? Did you have your hand up, Zath? I don't know if you did.
No, I mean, if James wants to go ahead, I don't want to interrupt anybody.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Good.
I mean, okay, thank you. I feel like lying to to Congress about like about weapons to be able to like start a fucking war with Iraq is like pretty fucking clear cut.
Okay, fair
Just
point.
saying.
Fair point. Fair point. What do you guys think about that?
I have a
Well,
question. Can I ask a question to like James and I guess all the left? Like, what did you guys think about Trump's statement on Colin Powell's death?
whose statement?
Trump's, because he was kind of in line. He was sort of talking mad shit about Colin Powell.
I don't
Well,
actually.
Trump is well.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry,
You guys agree with Trump? That's
I'm
dope.
trying to pull it up actually since you're bringing it up. So you guys keep going, and maybe I'll jump in.
Trump is a huge wang. So like
True.
Did you agree with the statement though?
True.
no, because
okay.
Trump is a huge wang.
All right, here I found it. I'm gonna
Yeah,
read.
I'm waiting for him to bring it up
Yeah,
because
I'm gonna
I don't
read.
remember it.
Yeah.
I don't.
Okay, that's okay. I'm gonna read it. Wonderful to see Colin Powell, who made big mistakes in Iraq and famously so-called weapons of mass destruction, be treated in death so beautifully by the fake news media. Hope that happens to me someday. He was a classic rhino, if that even.
You're
Always
almost
being
there.
the first to attack other Republicans. We made plenty of mistakes, but anyway, may he rest in peace.
But anyway, may he rest in peace. That's a good line.
Hell yeah. Biggs with a
So,
3-month sub in his own
yeah, I
channel.
guess,
Hell
like,
yeah.
that's a good question. Like, there is something to be said about the fucking heinous things that you know, whether he just did it out of like, okay, so listen, I think a lot of times politicians do shitty things out of like self-preservation, right? Like they're just worried about their
Dean
own
definitely gets
job,
involved in
they're
his,
just worried about their own
channel a
career,
lot more
or
than
they're
most
not looking bad
most
in the
hosts, but
party.
that's fine.
Um
I think it's
and
interesting.
I think a lot of their decision making comes down to that. But there is something
just
to
kind
be
of a
said, as
poo-poo
Zach said,
topic.
about like the nature of what
Trying
it
to push
was
it
that
towards the
the
establishment
outcome was.
against the
Like
populace.
James was saying, more people died from than they did in America from COVID. So yeah, do you guys think he's a war criminal? I guess you guys said he is. Crunch, what do you think?
What
think
what
Colin
is a
Powell's
war
based.
criminal? What is a war criminal really?
All right, excellent question. Anybody know?
Depends on which
Between-
side you're on.
When you're in a war, and you like steal something.
Yeah,
True.
whoever loses decides
I-
who the war criminals are.
I
That
would.
was the gold star
Or
answer, by
don't.
the way.
Excuse me. Opposite of what I
Thank you.
said.
Yeah, so I don't know that I don't know that I can really look at Colin Powell's actions today and really judge them fairly because of all the shit that's been happening in the past, like just within the past few years. I don't know that I can really I don't know that I can really measure that and be balanced about it because just it feels like the last few years have been like such a shit show. I
Especially
don't
the
know.
last year and a half.
I would. I think the thing that everyone talks about is the fact that he did a speech to the United Nations and lied and admitted later that he didn't have the right information about going into the Iraq. Right.
I mean, was it a lie or did he actually not have like the right information? Like
He says he
Knowingly
had bad
lied.
intel, and then he actually like copped to it, and then tried to get work on intelligence gathering through the State
yeah,
Department.
of that administration, I remember actually
It's so
Colin
funny.
Powell
The
being
lefties are like some of the
like
lefties are trying to like
one of the more
defend
decent
Colin
ones
Powell,
of that
and some of them aren't.
administration.
Like,
I don't know.
It's not
No,
saying a
you're-
lot.
Okay, let me ask you guys a question. Let's say that he knew that it was untruthful or something like that. Can you guys look at me right now and say that you would? What should he have done? Just quit, I guess, or
Yes.
whistle blown, I guess.
I
and
think
Yes.
We
yeah,
can't
well,
really
it-
know
well,
that.
I
We
think
don't really know for sure that he knew it was untruthful. What we do know is that he said it was bad intel, right? And like Crunch said, maybe he worked to improve that. I mean, that should be a sign, right, of like somewhat decency, right?
from my
Was the
understanding, there
growth
was
I was talking
He
about.
did take
I'm sorry.
responsibility for it, so it's not like he was like, "Nah, that wasn't me." You know, he like throughout
This is
his whole
amazing.
life.
So
Yeah.
anytime you do anything bad as a politician, you just oops, my bad.
yeah, that's basically how it goes.
It's
To be
more than
honest,
oops, my bad. It's more than oops, my bad. It's oops, my bad. I really fucked up, guys. Let me try and fix this so we don't have this problem again.
Fair enough.
I mean,
All
to be
right.
fair though, like Colin Powell was like part of the administration that like set the tone for like American foreign policy for like our entire lives, right? So
yeah.
That's true.
Basically,
It's
from
true.
the first Gulf War up into the Iraq War, and then he was obviously retired, and then but we still were in Afghanistan. So it was a
Well, he
continuation
resigned
of
after that.
yeah.
He
That's what I meant. Yeah,
yeah.
but he was a
He also
continuation.
resigned after he found out he had bad intel, like
Yeah.
2004.
Yeah, of all the people in that administration, honestly, Colin Powell is like my least concern. Like, like the one I'm
Yeah,
least
Dick
concerned
Cheney is
about,
probably the
honestly.
worst.
Like,
Yeah.
like of all of the people in that, like,
James, you're
yeah, I don't
making
know.
faces.
I'm just trying to,
He's baffled
again,
by the
like,
defense
Look,
of Colin Powell.
agreed with me. You agree with me that all the politicians are in some way war criminals, are they not?
oh, of course all
Yeah,
politicians are
So
war
if
criminals.
everybody's a fucking war criminal, then maybe the guy who's the best war criminal, like maybe the guy who's the most decent war
Yes,
criminal,
I
maybe I'm
knew. I
okay with
told
him.
you all
Maybe
that
in
fucking Stardust
comparison.
could come in
Gets
with
a
a
pass.
fire.
that's a good point. What if he's a nice war criminal?
Yeah, what if he is?
I mean,
Oh
he
my
did call
gosh, I think
We're
we're
all
giving.
complicit. By the way, we're all
I mean,
complicit.
he did
If they're all war
give
criminals, we're all complicit. I'm just saying,
he
we can
gave-
call people war criminals all we want, but our money goes right to it, and we fund it, and we do it. We're
Vote
complicit
for
in
it.
it all.
what?
So we're all war criminals.
All right, James, go ahead.
Well, again, I'm going to remind you all that Colin Powell gave false testimony about multiple encounters in
Why was it false?
Vietnam, which led to a massacre.
So did Eric Holder.
lied. He lied about arms sales.
Why was it
Holder
false?
did that too.
Guys,
in Central America,
let him finish, please.
which again led to the deaths of more people. Colin Powell's entire career was based upon getting told what to do by his one notch higher up masters in the government, which he happily did as a good lapdog, because this is what sycophants do and people who are more than happy to consume other people's souls so that they can climb up a ladder and garner more power. Ergo, he's a fucking ghoul. Saying that he's the least ghoulish of all the ghouls doesn't make him an okay ghoul, because there are no okay ghouls.
Okay,
So
how
it's-
about this? Are you okay? You called him a lapdog, right?
Yes,
Stardust
How
is
many
spitting
peasants
fire
are
now.
lapdogs?
none.
What do you mean none?
What do you mean by Stardust?
many.
Can you elaborate what you mean by that?
Like he used the word peasants earlier, right? I'm assuming you mean
Yes,
like
peasants,
people who are
plebes, the
workers, right?
poors. Yes.
Yeah, yes. How many of them are lapdogs for the higher
None.
ups?
How would-
I highly
one
doubt
sec,
that.
one sec,
I
James,
highly
hold
doubt
on.
that.
So what do you mean Stardust? How so? Like just by being
Just
a
by
part
being
of the machine?
government workers, people who are part of the machine, we're all lapdogs then.
But
What
I
about
guess like
standard?
there's got to be different levels of culpability here, I think.
I mean,
right?
sure, yeah, but again, like of all the people in that administration, like you can call them all ghouls, but like when it's Colin Powell, he doesn't look like a ghoul compared to the rest of the ghouls. He like
Okay,
like
fair,
in
that's a good
comparison.
point. Sure.
And wait a second. Like why do you say that he's lying? How do you what's the evidence you have for him lying?
Oh,
rather
busting up
than
the
him just having bad
evidence.
intel?
Okay.
Because he's given false testimony literally
given-
every single decade since the 1970s.
How many other politicians have
I
given
need a source for that.
false
It
testimony?
doesn't matter.
Oh,
Okay.
People get bad
Doesn't
intel all the
matter.
time. You can't judge that somebody else is lying. You don't know his head. You're not in his brain.
when other
I
people
could
give
say you're
counter
lying right now.
when other people give counter testimony and history shows that he indeed gave
Okay, who else?
Other
false
white people?
evidence.
Okay, one sec.
Who else?
Let me ask you a question. Okay, hold on. Let's say this Bush going on Ellen doing paintings. Let's take it away from Colin Powell a little bit. Let's go over to Bush. What do you think about what do you guys think about the whitewashing or the revisionist, whatever the fuck you want to say, of his image? I do think that, like,
Bush doesn't care about black people.
true. Kanye
Hey,
West.
yeah.
Is that Kanye West?
Yep,
I
it
didn't
was
know he
Kanye
on
West.
the panel tonight.
Yeet.
Oh. Yeah, what do you guys think about that? Because I think that Bush is kind of like a bigger.
I
scale
think
version of
I
what-
think Bush was just a puppet, just like Biden was. I think Cheney and, like we said, like James said, Colin Powell were pulling the strings behind the scenes. I think it's just a fucking a shit show now. I think he's just a useful idiot. And now he was always the cool guy to hang out with. Like, he was like, I remember back, I don't know how old you all are, but like back when he was president, it was like, oh, he's the president that I would like to have a beer and a barbecue with. Like, he was the chill, like, hang out with president guy, because he was like a fucking dumbass that
I
fucking
won't
did.
feel like he's
He went to,
smarter
like,
than
Harvard.
me.
Yeah, he like fucking did cocaine at fucking Yale or Harvard or whatever the fuck he went to. Like, he was like that guy that you could like fucking do a line with and have a beer
Wait,
with, you
who?
know? Like, that was his whole like thing. So like, obviously I think that he was never really anything malicious. So like, obviously he's gonna try to be the fucking cakewalk out with like Ellen and doing the fucking water paints, like you said.
But should we be okay with that though? That's the question.
I don't think he was the
Yeah,
one
yeah.
behind the
Stardust
scenes, but
Bush.
I also don't think
Bush
Yeah.
is incredibly smart. I don't know what you're talking about. I think that's his. I think that's a fucking ruse that he's playing.
You
okay?
think so?
I think he knew. Oh yeah.
Did you
I
see
think
him
he's
trying to put a
incredibly
fucking
smart.
poncho on at a fucking sports event? Did you see that? He could not
Incredibly
figure out how to
smart
put a
people do
fucking
dumb shit
poncho
all
on.
the time. Incredibly smart people do dumb
Have you
shit
ever
all the
watched
time.
the
Yeah,
Big
I had
do you
college-
struggle
I had
to put
college
your clothes on
professors
during the day?
who knew
Do you
Bush,
struggle?
who
Do you
said that
struggle
he
to
was
put on
incredibly
clothes?
smart.
I don't think
Like,
so. I think you are perfectly capable of putting on a fucking poncho, okay?
No,
and
a
if the president on the
poncho? I
motherfucking
struggle with a
states,
poncho.
it's
I
one
would
fucking
struggle with a
hole,
poncho.
Stardust. It's one hole. How can you fuck up one
No, there
hole?
are 3 holes in it, dude. Some ponchos have 3 holes in them. Okay, let me finish. Okay, let me finish. Okay, I
Yeah,
have had
please.
college professors who knew Bush who said that he was incredibly smart. Okay, so we can
Really?
say that he's dumb, and that may have been the persona that he put out there because he had to relate to the working man. Okay, he had to be the guy who you could share a beer with, right? And that's what he was. He was successful at that. But yeah, I don't think he's an idiot. I don't think he's an idiot by any means. I think that dude knew exactly what he was doing. So-
I think you are completely
Also,
ill-informed.
a wonderful painter, also.
I mean, I kind of have listen, when Bush left, I was like, bro, this guy's finished. Like, no one's ever gonna forgive him. No one's gonna get over how horrible he is and how unpopular
What's
he
he
is
playing
at this
now,
time.
dude?
And now he's fucking he's gonna be on Dancing with the Stars next week. And I don't really know how I feel about that as someone
See,
from the
that's
Middle
exactly
East.
what I'm saying. Okay, so like he was relatable to the working guy. I'm sorry, Zath. I'll let you go after me. He's
I think she was fixing
related
your
to-
camera focus.
Oh, okay. So yes, he was incredibly relatable to the working person. That's what got him, like, made him electable, right? And now what's he doing? He's playing the part again. He's the sad old man, painting pictures. I think he's excellent with PR. I don't think he
Also,
Trump is a fucking idiot with PR, but he might be a genius also. I have no idea. But like fucking Bush over here, like, he seems like a guy I could tell a joke to and he would still laugh at
You
all
know
my
who
jokes.
else
And
painted
like, that's somebody I want to
watercolors of
hang out
dogs?
with.
Who else,
Hitler.
Crunch?
Hitler.
Hitler did too. Hitler
Yeah.
did too. Yeah.
And I wouldn't have a beer with that guy.
His
No
paintings,
way.
though, his paintings were so boring he got kicked out of art school. Like
Yo,
Hitler,
his German
like,
Shepherd picture is pretty good. All right.
I don't know, dude. He got
Stan.
kicked out of art school for a reason. That dude
I'd
was
hang
boring
that
as
in the
fuck.
hotel.
All right.
I'm not hanging out with
Okay.
him.
Let me ask you guys one last question on this topic before we move on to the second topic. Should you call out people who celebrate this kind of thing on the left or on the right, whatever? Like Trump did it on the right. Should
Yeah.
should we call people out for celebrating this? Is it in bad taste or is it just like personal positions for people?
I think it's just bad
Taste,
taste,
but like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
you
I don't
know?
either.
Like,
Call monitor for Twitter.
I'm Twitter hall monitor, bro. I call people up for cringe shit all the time.
I think that if you want to put out something about somebody dying, I think that's on you. Like, I just think that speaks to how you are as a person. I don't think like people that are like legitimate, wholesome people that like want to like actually purvey like real ideas and stuff. I don't think those are the kind of people that are putting out stuff like cheering for somebody's death. I think that that's kind of ridiculous. All those people are doing is just trying to grab attention for themselves about something that had nothing to do with to try to like drone up fucking views and clicks and stuff. I think that's kind of bad. But like, you know, if they want to do it and they can succeed at doing it and there's a market for that, whatever. But I think it's just fucking bad taste overall in general. Unless it's Hitler, you know.
I want to go around and hear everyone's take on this. Binks, do you think we should call people out when they do this kind of, what is it called? There's a word for it. Schadenfreude? Freud? Something like that? Does anybody know what the word is? Yeah, something like that.
Eric Sheldon.
Yeah, Derek Schadenfreude. Do you guys think that we should call this kind of behavior out? Does it produce like more negativity? What do you think, Binks?
I mean, objectively, from like 100-mile radius, I can look down at the plebes, say that it's bad on Twitter. But if a fuck Colin Powell tweet would give me like 100 likes, I probably would do it. All right, I'm just being.
Oh, so 100 likes is your bear?
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that says a lot about me, actually. I have to think.
Okay. All right. Let's go to Zath. Do you think that we should call people out who are like woohoo, fuck this guy, or should we just kind of let him go in silently?
I don't care.
You don't care? Okay,
No.
nice.
Yeah, she definitely was
personal
not prepared for this topic,
liberty all the way. All right. Look at that cat, by the way. Just trying to steal the show. Get the cat out of the frame.
No, I love her.
All right. Let's go to Crunch. Crunch, do you think we should call this kind of behavior out, or is it whatever?
I think you shouldn't interact with it because you're just going to give it more credence.
Okay.
Let those people just die in silence.
All right. James?
Don't care. There's like 85 billion other things more important than wielding cancel culture over rooting over the death of a ghoul.
All right. And Stardust?
If he was a ghoul, he probably was dead for a long time. I don't give a fuck. I really don't give a fuck what other people do. I just don't. Like, we're all cringe at the end of the day. Everybody's done something cringe. We're all going to be cringe in the future. The cringe is inevitable.
Speak for yourself. I'm never cringe. All right. Thank you guys so much. Great first topic. I want to keep it going. It seemed like we reached a natural ending point here. Anybody have any last words, or you felt like you got it off your chest?
I want to reiterate. We're all war criminals, guys. We all participate. We're all complicit. We're all complicit in the war crimes, guys. So just saying, we're all participants. So.
So pay your dues to Dr. Heem. Be sure to subscribe and follow everybody.
Very true.
As well as Stardust, Cringe, Binks, and Xanaranth, and James on the internet. So you guys should all feel guilty for being complacent with war crimes. So give them your money, okay?
The only way we'll stop is with subs.
Cut the power. That's
all right. All right. Let's go over to.
Wait.
What?
Wait.
You want to go to the bathroom?
Yeah.
All right, go to the bathroom. I'm gonna run a quick 1-minute ad break.
I'll go to the bathroom too.
Enjoy these local words from your. Enjoy these words from your local sponsors. We'll be right back after these words.
Is this a union break?
Yeah, this is a 1-minute break. Yeah, this is union sanctioned 1-minute break.
This is the not going to go smoke anything at the moment.
I was about to do that. Dude,
all right, we're on a quick 60. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back.
I'll also run a quick 60.
Oh, everybody's leaving. Fine, I'll go smoke. Y'all can wait on me.
So I'm not going anywhere.
Oh, so cute.
Your costume was awesome yesterday, Stardust.
Thank you. Yeah. I was very happy with it. I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right. This is your chance. Quick, you want to plug your channel? Tell us what kind of games do you play? I saw you play games and shit.
Oh, I play a bunch of games. I play like Dead by Daylight. That's like a favorite for everyone because I'm a huge scaredy cat, so I scream and I can't play first person games, so I'm the one getting the murdered all the time. And
The
right now I'm
murder.
playing Undertale, which is super cute. It's an RPG. So yeah.
That's awesome. I like your setup. I like the vibe in there. It looks cool with the
Oh, thank
with
you.
the blue light and shit. The camera's pointed. Is that like a fisheye camera, or is that it captures the rest of the room very nicely?
Oh, it's a camera.
Camera. Look at I don't know. It's nice. Look, big. So all I see from you is a white backdrop, bro.
Yeah, I'm actually streaming from
couldn't show your
prison.
person. Yeah, for real.
I'm actually working on that. I've got some artwork that I told my wife to get me for Christmas to put behind me on the wall.
She has to smuggle it into the prison or what?
Yeah, that's what we call my basement. My wife calls it my prison. Sends me off when I've misbehaved. So, and I'm actually excited because she really helped me with one of the topics here today. So we were doing a bunch of family activities, Halloween activities, going to corn mazes and all that fun stuff, and drove up to see my parents. On the way back, I was picking her brain about this whole, I don't know if we're doing that topic next, so I don't want to spoil it, but one of the topics that we were talking about.
All right, exciting stuff.
Yeah.
Can I say something real quick? Because I don't want the rest of the stream to be based on a lie. I didn't go to the bathroom. I went to go puff a cigarette, but I know you're.
Oh, me too.
I was afraid you'd go into me.
All right. Well, so are you trying to basically preemptively prepare us for when you need to go in 20 minutes?
No, I'm not gonna go. I just didn't want to lie for the rest of the conversation.
Oh, I like that.
So
I like how the conservatives are trying to come off as honest, like not lying, not fucking always telling the truth.
I'm an old man and I went pee because I'm an old man.
Be like that. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. All right, James, are you back? We'll wait for James.
Sorry for being very animated and difficult today.
I love that.
You're the best, Stardust. You're the best.
How dare you be who you are as a person?
Stardust, you tripped me you tripped me out yesterday because in the instructions for your panel, you're like, oh, we're gonna do the first two topics, then we're gonna do the drawing, then we're gonna do topic 3, then 4, then 5, then 6. I'm like, what the fuck? And then you let us go after the drawing. You got me good on that.
So I said I said I wanted to aim for like 2 hours and I didn't want to keep anybody there, if that was their impression. So and already it went over by like half an hour. So definitely in the future it will be probably around like 3.5 to 4 hours that stream, just because it's a Crown Royale or whatever. So in the future, yeah, I'll probably stick to that a little bit more.
By the way, I like how today we have different colors. We didn't coordinate before.
You didn't copy me, you mean? You didn't copy
coordinate, I think you're trying to say.
I think you're using the wrong word.
different. I'm Canadian. We say coordinate. All right, where's James at? Are you back yet? Oh,
yes.
Perfect timing.
Right here.
I was about to get mad and shit, and there you were. That was weird. I was about to rip on you, and then boom, you went right away. All right, thank you.
Life is timing, man.
Thank you. All right, let's get back into it. So the second topic is Sohcahtoa. Okay, before we get into it, extra points for anybody who can tell me what Sohcahtoa stands for.
You mean in reference to what they were talking about with it, or
what is Sohcahtoa? Somebody tell us.
Math.
What about it?
It's like a trig equation or something.
Trig equation. Okay. Anybody else? No math heads in here.
Sine, cosine, tangent.
Okay, so the S-O-H is because sine equals opposite over hypotenuse. The C-A-H is because its cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. And then the T, which is for tangent, is opposite over adjacent. It's kind of how you remember how to measure the angle and the length of triangles. So this is something that, as someone who teaches at the university level, I oftentimes have to use Sohcahtoa with the students. Tell them, hey, this fucking remember Sohcahtoa, da da da.
So we should cancel Heemed out and get put on leave. Is what you're saying?
Why
That's
would you?
cringe.
Why would you?
You said you did exactly.
No,
What?
listen.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Okay. So
That's what I thought.
Sohcahtoa itself is nothing wrong with it. It's the way that this person taught it. So a teacher was recently caught on camera teaching this trig concept in a very strange way. Everybody, I'm sure, has seen the video by now. There's no reason for me to bring it up. I had a video on my YouTube channel. If you haven't seen it, watch that before. And yeah, I have a question. First of all, did any of you learn it this way? Okay. Was it racist? Do you think she's racist for how much she's committed to the role? And most importantly, she was doxxed right away. And do you think that this thing that she did is a doxable offense? So that's the kind of topic that I want to kick off here, okay? So let's kick it off with Stardust first. Let's go into the opening. What's the opening statement? Thank you. All right, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, so obviously it's like incredibly cringe, right? Incredibly cringe. I cringed so hard when I saw that. But it, as somebody who is, and I don't know if this teacher is just dated or what, but I feel like what she was doing was not that out of the ordinary for when I was in high school. However, that was a while ago. So maybe it is dated. Maybe she shouldn't be doing that. I try to give people benefit of the doubt when it comes to like these really politically incorrect things that they do, right? Like maybe this person's just an idiot. They're completely unaware, but yeah, it's cringe. I don't think doxing is ever a good thing. I really don't, especially for something that's really, I mean, I wouldn't it's embarrassing and it's disrespectful, but I don't know that that it warrants. Yeah, I don't know that it warrants doxing. I really don't think it does. So
Okay. Actually, before I kick it to the next person, I'm gonna play the video because I see people in chat are asking for the original infraction. So I'm gonna play the video. Just give me 30 seconds, okay? Okay, so let's go over to Binks. Binks, what do you think about this one?
I never heard it with audio. That's hilarious. Yeah. Okay. First of all, I thought before you sent me this topic, I thought Sohcahtoa was what like the Roanoke settlers left on a tree before they like disappeared.
That was
but-
Krakatoa
Oh, okay.
Croatoan.
or Croatoan. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Look, I was against this at first. Then I thought about it. I saw the hit motion picture Dune, absorbed that message, and what Dune was telling me was that sometimes a Twinkie white boy can be the Messiah and save indigenous people from like bad shit if they are radicalized properly. So maybe there was someone in that classroom who was doing this, looked at the Sohcahtoa dance and was like, yeah, I'm going to save indigenous people. Maybe it's the future.
Okay. Interesting take. All right, let's go to James. What do you think?
I'll agree that it's cringe. I will say that it's racist. I technically don't know. Like, I have no way to ascertain whether or not she is aware of how racist as fuck it is. I looked at the Twitter thread that you put out, and there were multiple comments from people in the class that apparently she's done this for like the last 7 or 8 years in a row.
12 actually is
12?
the number I heard.
Oh.
12, yeah. So she's had a feathered headdress in her desk drawer for 12 years, giddily waiting for the week that she gets to bust this out every
Giddily
week 12 of
waiting?
every
Wow.
year. The recording was actually made by a Native American kid that was in her class that she knew was Native American, who literally had like a Native American name. So it's either like a ludicrous lack of awareness, in which case I blame her friends or all of her coworkers, the school district, and literally every last person in her life for not pulling her aside at one point and
Yes.
maybe explaining to her that
Based.
she's being racist as fuck.
It's so funny.
The whole thing was just really fucking horrible. It was absolutely horrible.
Okay,
cringe, yeah.
let's go over to Biggs.
Yeah, so I watched that video, as well as, I don't know if you saw some of the other videos that were shown
Yeah.
about this lady. She was at one point talking to a water goddess, a rock goddess. I think this lady is probably a little bit off her rocker, possibly on some substances. I don't want to make assumptions, but she seemed a little bit out there. Now, whether she had malicious intent, I don't think so. My wife is a teacher, so I was kind of picking her brain today while we were driving back from my parents' house, I basically she saw the videos and she was helping me kind of research for this and stuff like that. And she basically made it sound like, obviously this lady was just trying to make an interactive way to teach her students a good way to memorize this whatever you call it, acronym or whatever,
Mnemonic, yeah.
mnemonic device to remember these things so they can trigonometry. I don't think this lady had any ill intention, but we don't know that, obviously. But like Stardust said, we try to give people the doubt. Now, as far as the doxing issue goes, literally her last name was in the video. And I believe that most teachers in California are of public record, so I don't think there was any actual doxing per se. This is all public information, so I don't really think that was an issue. But what I will say is the bigger issue here is the ridiculous outrage culture that we currently have in society. I think that things like this probably aren't malicious, and I think that people are making way too big of a deal about these type of things. I don't think anyone's using this to attack Native Americans or try to harm or do violence. I think there was some articles that said that this was like actual violence against Americans. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. And then I also read there were some articles about protests at the school board. They tried to actually give a letter to the principal, basically demanding that this person be fired, and they weren't let into the school. They had a protest. I believe it was at the actual board or something like that. I don't know if it was the school board or the school itself. But they were people protesting, and absolutely ridiculous. And this whole outrage culture is just absurd, especially with something so basically just low level. Like, this lady was obviously a little crazy. She was trying to engage the students. I don't think there was any intent for malice here at all. And the fact that we're having this discussion and that it's all over the news about this lady put on leave, I think it's just absurd. People just want to be upset and just try to get their 15 minutes of fame. I think that these people that are protesting, they're taking this to all these articles and things like that. I think it's just crazy overall.
Okay. Very interesting statement. All right, Zathareth. Did I get it?
Yes.
Okay, fuck. All right, what do you think?
I think that it was completely unacceptable behavior, especially as a teacher, to her students. I don't think that there is any excuse for that kind of behavior in 2021. I just don't see how you cannot know what you're doing is shitty. Like, I don't give a fuck if you're
See, outrage culture right here.
if
This lady's outrage
what
culture.
you're doing isn't malicious. Even if it's not your intent to be that way, the people whose culture you're appropriating for the sake of trying to keep your students engaged are going to feel shitty about it. It's like super negative and it's not okay. Just fucking fundamentally and period. So to say that like cancel culture is the bigger problem than appropriating somebody's culture
I did say cancel.
is part of the problem.
Oh no.
And I think that people are allowed to be outraged when a teacher just gets to do this without any repercussions for 12 goddamn years. That's unacceptable. And like she should have been like reprimanded in some way. I'm sorry.
The cat's taking over the stream again.
Feeling the abuse from the cat, I see.
Getting doxxed, I don't think that it's okay to dox anybody for anything, but I do think that like the superintendent should have gotten involved and done something. That's their fucking job. Why aren't they doing their job?
Fair enough. Good point. And then let's go to Crunch-Lord, last but not least.
Yeah, I guarantee you everybody in her class remembers that term for their exams and
Peace.
stuff. That's all I'm gonna say. But when it comes to like cultural appropriation, I don't think she was appropriating anything. She's just being a fucking fool, right? I think cultural appropriation is a white term, and I think it's completely ridiculous.
Okay.
That's my take.
All right. Before we get into the whether or not cultural appropriation is a white term, I do want to say, what do you guys think about the idea that you even need a fucking song and dance? Is Sohcahtoa? That's literally the only thing that doing that whole entire song and dance did was just to get the mnemonic, like just the word
Yo.
Sohcahtoa for Sohcahtoa. It doesn't teach you how to use it or how it's put into practice. It's literally just like, I don't know. I didn't learn it this way, and my teachers were just like, "It's Sohcahtoa. Just fucking learn it, Sohcahtoa." And that was how we learned the mnemonic. But when I looked into it, actually, Jangles Science Lad, everybody knows Jangles, shout out to him. He said he learned it this way. So I'm curious, did any of you actually learn it this way? I forget where he said he grew up in Kentucky, I think. And he was actually taught Sohcahtoa through this song and dance, but he said that his teachers didn't go this overboard with it. But like that it was like an indigenous like song to teach Sohcahtoa. This is actually a thing that is happened throughout history. So I found that curious. Anyways, we're done with the intros. I'm gonna kick it over to Stardust. Go ahead.
So again, I think it's like incredibly cringe, right? I think we all agree that it was so incredibly cringe. But it wouldn't be the first time. I was saying, when I was in high school, I don't know that I had that specific one, but bro, I was a fucking idiot. Like, so songs and dances, I totally get why teachers do that. Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. As far as like as like the cultural appropriation or whatever, I think I don't really like to use that word because it's so hard to like have a nuanced conversation about it. Like, yeah, so it's embarrassing, and I definitely think that she should probably like have sensitivity training. But was she really talking to like a rock god or whatever?
Yeah, I think in
Oh,
part
yeah.
2. Do you guys want? Should I pull up?
Oh, it's a
There's part
3-part
two?
video.
There's four.
It's a
There's like four.
3-part
Yeah,
video.
there's 4 parts.
Oh, there's
actually.
4. I only
Yeah,
saw
I
the
saw
4
3.
parts?
All right,
Oh
hold
my
on.
god.
I'm gonna
It
pull
gets
it up.
cringier.
I'm gonna pull it up for y'all. Hold on. All right, you keep talking while I set this up.
Yeah. So just for like, so when I was younger, I had a piano teacher, and this was like back when we didn't really have any concept of like, politically correct or whatever. And my piano teacher had me learn this song, and it was like, it was something about China, right? But the song was the piece was clearly written by like a white dude,
Was it Bare
and it
Naked
just had like the
Ladies?
very,
One
it
week.
just had the very, huh?
I said, was it Bare Naked Ladies 1 week?
No.
Sounded
But it
like
had the
that.
very
Alright, never mind.
stereotypical like Asian sound to it. And she's like, "Hey, why don't you play this at the recital?" And I was like, "Oh no, I don't want to do that." And she was like, "Why?" And at that time, I didn't really have the words for telling her. Like, I didn't have the words to say that, like, "Hey, this seems really insensitive, and I'm not going to play this when we have like Chinese students here who are going to look at me." There's no fucking way, dude.
So
And
you
so
had
I
more
had no-
awareness as a kid than this teacher.
Yeah, but see, like, I don't think she meant anything bad by it, and I think she probably didn't even think about, like, what she probably didn't even think about it like that, you know? But for me, I would if somebody were playing a piece that was, like, supposed to have, like, an Indian name and it had some stereotypical Indian sounds in it, Indian scales or whatever, and it was written by, like, a white person, and I don't know, like, me as a minority was not gonna do that to another minority in the class, you know?
Fair
Like
enough.
every Tool song.
Like
Yeah.
the
Okay, let me play the part 2 for you guys, and then I have someone from chat brought up something interesting. I'm gonna give them some love for it. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna pull this up. Here we go. So, can you guys see my screen? You might have to click watch stream. Give me a thumbs up when you guys are ready, and I'll play part 2. All right, here we go. Part 2.
please aid.
Water goddess, again, I ask you, please tell me the secret Indian chant.
This lady's fucking insane.
And then I hear. Because obviously this is ridiculous.
Okay, having seen now part 2, I'm gonna follow this up with something that somebody from chat said. Hang on, let me just stop. Someone said, okay, let's say that this is a little bit inappropriate or insensitive. Would you say the same thing if a teacher came and did blackface and was trying to teach something, I don't know, fucking who knows, about the history
yeah,
of
fine.
hip hop? Would that then we would I don't know. What do you guys think about that? I'll throw it to whoever.
Have you not seen
I
Getting
don't-
Tricky with It?
No, I haven't.
That was good.
You got some problems.
Oh man, that was
I
good.
feel like I feel like I'm not maybe the best judge of this because I had teachers who did like insensitive things all my life, you know.
Did you actually? What kind of school did you go to?
Same.
Sounds awful.
No, it wasn't that bad. It's just like, oh God, I'm like, you know, cringing internally again. Like, yeah.
I guess.
Um,
Yeah, go ahead, James.
Can I throw this out there?
Yeah, please.
In like 20 some odd years of being in different levels of school, I was exposed to many acronyms and mnemonic devices in order to remember, you know, long names or formulas or this and that. Oddly enough, nobody ever had to do a racism to teach me a jingle. So I'm just saying, like, it's not like this is so, like without this, you know, she'd have been sitting at home going, oh wow, how do I teach them to say 3 syllables? Like, you know, without the and the headdress, I don't know how I could do it. Like, I'm just saying, like, lots of other teachers managed to do it. So,
All right. Do you guys think that this should be like fuck? Let's say you come to her and you're like, this is you've got to stop this. And she's like, no, this is the best way I can teach Sohcahtoa.
thing
Would you
about it
then
is,
say like, okay, she's got to go?
The
Yeah.
thing about it, it's not like-
Yes, fundamentally.
Okay, Zap, I know you're
awful.
already based as fuck on this issue, Zap. It's the rest of these fuckers I'm trying to convince.
No, if you went up to her and said, "Hey, this is really insensitive," and you explained why, and then she was like, "No, I'm still going to do this. This is how I can teach it." I'd be like, "Yeah, bro, you got to go. I'm sorry."
So
you
here's
can't."
the thing. Here's the thing. We said that if she's been doing this for 12 years and nobody said anything to her, do you think that she actually believes that this is a problem? She's been doing it for 12 years. I don't know if that's actually true. If she's had been doing the same thing. To me personally, I think this lady's fucking off her rocker and fucking crazy. But like, I don't think
that's what I
there's
thought. Then she's
anything-
like, obviously this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
which is
She
weird.
might have been going through an episode or something.
But
her
and there's
life.
actually
doesn't
there's
help
another
though
video
on
where at
YouTube.
one point
for
she
12
actually
years in a row.
yeah, but
yeah,
I
well
just,
then that's
but
the
that's
thing.
the thing.
Yeah.
Like, if she's been doing it for 12 years, like obviously I don't think she thinks that this is like a problem. Like I don't think like
It's
obviously-
it's the first episode of season 12.
yeah, right. It's like but back to my point originally. It's like obviously this lady is a little bit off. Doing this, if somebody tells her that this is bad, I think in this case she would stop doing it. But what I think is now what has happened, she's been doing it for so long, doesn't think that it's an issue. And maybe it's because back to 12 years ago, maybe people didn't think this was an issue, and things have changed since then, right? I obviously think, at least in the last 5 years especially, the politically correctness and things like that have vastly shifted. So this is, I think, honestly, a person who is literally just a little bit crazy with her teaching style, who hasn't had any issues in the past, who's just doing something she's always done with no issues, now is being, like you said, doxxed, which I don't think is doxxed because she's public. Yeah, but my bigger issue here is, should these people be, is this actual harm? Like, I don't think it's actual harm here. If this was a story, like if she made another song about something else with Sohcahtoa that was like a non like not using the feathers and stuff, like obviously like Stardust said, I think we can all agree, like we said, it's cringe, doesn't look good in our 2021 perspective, right? But like if she did some other song, some other way to do it, like still the same like craziness, wouldn't be talking about this, right? I think that's just people wanting to be upset because of the 2021 values and things like that we've changed to. Again, I don't think it's necessarily right, but I think this person is not doing it maliciously. I know Zanrant said that she doesn't agree that it matters if it's malicious or not. I do think that intent does have something to play. If she didn't have malice, I think she should be told, like, hey, this isn't good, and move on from there and don't do it in the future.
Zach,
Saying
you think?
that
Yeah, go
she
ahead. I want to
should
hear
be
your response.
like, I'm not saying that she should have been just like fucking canned like at the drop of a hat. Like there should have been steps up to this point. But I'm saying like 12 years of doing this, and in that 12 years no one has said anything. In that 12 years she like just fucking lived under a rock after
It's kind of
class.
like ACAB a
Like,
little bit.
right, yeah, right. But like she's a person that lives in the world, right? So how does she not know the things that she does affect other people?
I don't think she lives in the
Especially
same
as a
world that we do.
goddamn teacher.
She lives in Cali.
Listen, that is a completely different conversation.
True.
And just to like shove it off as like a mental illness is real like it's cheap.
I didn't say mental illness. I think this lady is a little bit
Well,
like,
you heavily
Stardust.
implied it.
sure. I mean, I think she might be on something. Maybe it's like SSRIs or something like that. Like,
All right,
Maybe, I don't know.
I don't like speculate. I don't like
exactly. I don't
speculation.
know. Like I said, I don't know.
All right, let's go to Stardust. What do you think?
Okay, yeah, I think that there's like a middle here, right? Like, I disagree with the assessment that this couldn't cause harm, because I think it actually could. As somebody who, again, has dealt with plenty of cringe things, like growing up, like seeing people do cringe things, make cringe assumptions, it's not really too nice when you feel like your culture, your heritage is being used as like a joke, right? Or like or like
A learning tool? I don't think it's really a joke per se. It's a learning tool.
See,
That's what
but
that's what she's probably
here's
doing.
Here's the thing, Biggs. Here's the thing. To you, and to other people, it may look like she's using this as a learning skill, but it's not even the culture. It's a caricature of that culture, right? So that's where the caricature, because it's a caricature of somebody else's culture. That's why I can see the harm in it, because then you've got other people making assumptions, and you've got the kid in the class who happens to be from that heritage or have that background feeling embarrassed, feeling cringe. That's how I would feel, right? And that's why I didn't want to like do that piece that was like clearly written by somebody who'd never heard like Asian music before. It just had the stereotypical like scales and stuff in it. But like yeah, so I mean there are harms, and I think my main concern would just be like the self-esteem of the student who has to hear that, the self, yeah. So yeah, I think that there can be actual harm there. Now what I would say is that I don't think she needs to be fired. I think somebody needs to sit her down, have a serious talk with her, and say like, hey, this may have been acceptable 12 years ago, but um it's not, it's not anymore. And you need to we need to talk, we need to work out a way to like find a way where you do not have to do that.
You're saying she has to hang up the feathers?
Yes.
All right, I think I agree. Does anybody else want to jump in here, or yeah, James, go ahead.
I would have a question for anybody who's, just like, poo poo, or and actually, and I don't want Biggs to think I'm picking on him, but
Pick
Pick
him,
on me.
please,
Pick
go
on me
ahead.
hard. I love it.
No, I'm not picking on you, but I'm gonna throw it out there. So what if she did a CRT instead?
You mean like what do you mean a CRT? You mean like a racist, like a African
And
American
she
thing or
used
what?
an educational tool that you don't culturally agree with, hypothetically, like, and I'm hypothesizing here, but
I mean, if she wanted to do something that was like she was teaching CRT and was doing like something like to rap, you mean, or like what do you mean?
like, I don't know, like, let's say she dressed up like a saltine cracker, and then like, repeated Sohcahtoa off rhythm.
Oh, you mean doing it different? Yeah, that's what. That's
rhythm.
actually what I was trying to get at. If she wanted to do
would
something,
that be okay?
yes, I mean,
Okay.
it'd be equally as cringy, but I don't think it would be necessarily racist. I just don't think the intent is there. Like, obviously, this lady does need to be. I agree with you that this lady does need to be talked to and say, hey, this isn't something that's appropriate. Even if it was appropriate back then, which I don't necessarily agree it would be back then, but it wasn't as highly publicized. But I just think that like if she was talked to, I think she would change her ways. And if she didn't, that's when I think it's time to step in and say, hey, this person needs to be removed from the situation, right? But my question, my thing is like I completely agree with you, James. If she found another way to do it that was doing something as a character of a white person that I think you were trying to get at, I would be perfectly fine with that. Like I as long as she's trying to engage the students, I think that's fine. I just think it's the matter of intent, which I think that is being missed here. And I think like I said, the broader issue here is we have these people that are getting so hurt about something that's just a misunderstanding, really. I really think it is. Like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm completely off base. Maybe this lady is a complete racist. And like you said, James, that she's waiting for the 1 week where she can do this thing. I don't think that's the case. I know you were being silly with
Marking
that.
it on her calendar.
I really
she
don't
had
think
the feathers.
Yes,
It's like she just pulled them out of the
right.
magical feathers store.
Exactly. But I'm saying is I don't think she's like sitting there like waiting and like Heem said, like marking off the days with a big circle on the calendar like a fucking super villain, or I don't think that's the case, right? But I do think that this person is very, very insensitive to the current situation, especially with, like you said, having a Native American student in the class. Like, obviously, I think in that situation, most people, like I said, who were like of sound mind, again, I don't want to say she has a mental illness or anything, but I do think this lady's a little bit different. And I think that she should maybe have discussed this with the student, say, hey, maybe I'm going to do this in the class. What do you think? And I think if that's the case, and she actually talked to that student, the student would be like, say, hey, I don't think this is correct. And I think that would be perfectly reasonable conversation for a student to have with their teacher.
I think it's nice to just see like teachers fucking having some enthusiasm over their jobs, right?
Sure, that
That's
part
true.
is nice for sure.
Like I get we're all offended by how she does her teaching, but like I mean maybe something we could put a side by side comparison to are her grades versus other teachers' grades that teach the same subject. I don't know.
You want to know the effectiveness of this method?
Yeah, because
the thing is
cringe, people remember cringe. That's
bro,
all
the problem is that this doesn't actually do anything to teach the concept. It's like if I just come out like, all right, today we're gonna learn calculus, and then I just make an entire like song about the word calculus without actually like teaching the math behind it. You know what I mean? It does
Man,
that's
math is cringe.
all right.
So-
Your crunch lord
First of
has
all, the
spoken.
whole issue
Look-
here is when the fuck are we ever going to use sine, cosine, or tangent? Who here has actually used that in their life after high school?
I
Please
use it
raise
every
your hand.
day. Fuck
Well, you're
you.
a fucking a scientist, right? Or I don't know what the fuck you are, but yeah.
Okay, but I also I wanted to say one more thing. Oh, you know what? One thing that concerns me about this is this just goes to show you that this has been happening all across the country for decades and decades, where you have these like, I think that this is racist. Like, there's no two ways about it. If you guys want to know my opinion, I think it's so cringe, and if this ever happens again, this lady should lose her job, and she should
Agreed.
go on some sort of like sensitivity training or something like this, because like the fact that she thought that this was a good idea, which is the thing that Zadorith brought up that I feel like was underestimated, the fact that she even thinks that this was all right is a concerning thing for me, as someone she's teaching the youth, and she thinks that this kind of behavior is appropriate. That's concerning. And it just goes to show you that, like, because of the cell phones is the only reason that we're able to capture all this cringe, and like how much fucking uncaptured cringe has gone by, all these years and stuff. And I think it's good to address these kind of things and bring light to them. I swear to God, I had no idea that Sohcahtoa was being taught with an indigenous song, and little did I know it's actually a thing all across America. So I don't
Heem,
know.
did you ever see Dead Poet Society?
No, what is that?
Okay, never
Robin
mind.
It's a
Williams
Robin
movie.
Williams movie. You should probably go
Brendan
watch it.
Fraser.
It's lit.
Brendan Fraser's
really
not
good.
in that movie.
It is.
No, he's not. That's a different movie you're thinking of.
All right, you guys can take that into the
That's
after
school
pan.
days.
Oh, School Days. Yeah. Damn it.
Brendan Fraser, what the fuck?
All right. Does anyone else have any final words on this topic? Are we good? Yeah, Stardust, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I'm just arguing with somebody in my chat, but basically they're saying,
Bring it
"Oh,
here.
people knew 12 years ago. Oh, people knew and people said things 12 years ago. Maybe in your place, maybe where you lived, people knew and people said things, but not everybody has that experience. I'm sorry. You're one place where you were, got to go to high school. Good for you. I'm really glad that you got that, and people said stuff and people weren't cringe. I'm really glad that you got that. But not everybody got that. And 12 years ago was a very different time. And yes, I acknowledge there's so many cringe things. I saw so many cringe things. I was so embarrassed by so many things that teachers would do and other students would do. But it's kind of it's really nearsighted to not know that there are going to be places where this is just it's so different. So
Okay. Anybody want to respond to that, or you guys want to move on? Okay, let's move on. Surprise topic before we move on to the next topic. There's no way that we're gonna have any disagreement on this, all right? And this, I haven't told any of you what this surprise topic is. Here we go, surprise topic time. What I want to know is, does anybody on this panel think that Alec Baldwin deserves some sort of he's at fault here for what happened with this? I want to know what you guys think. Do any of you, because I was going to include this as a topic, and then I thought there's no way anybody's going to have disagreements on this.
He should go to jail.
Gulag.
Jail. Okay, anybody else? Not for real though.
For real.
From what's come out, I think there needs to
guns.
definitely be a very thorough investigation. I don't know if you guys read. Maybe I read that it was a actual live gun that they had been using for recreational purposes offset. So I don't know how much Alec Baldwin knows about firearms, but I think that if you are using firearms off the set, you should know somewhat of the basic rules of firearms. But as far as like whatever happened on the set, I think it's the responsibility of both Alec Baldwin and the props director and the actual director that the prop armor, whatever it's called, I don't know what the technical term is, and the director that gave him the weapon. I think all three of them should be investigated and figure out what actually happened here. But I think that it was
No, they should go to jail.
we need to find out like what.
because they're Hollywood.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
I mean,
but
sure,
there needs to be an
investigate it, but
investigation.
Alec
Can't tell,
Baldwin-
bro. Wait, one sec. Sorry, Crunch. I cannot actually tell if you're being serious or not. Can you
No, I'm being
clarify?
100. Hollywood doesn't get a pass on handling firearms just because, oh, well, fucking some guy handed me a gun, told me to pull the trigger, and be like, check the fucking thing first. You should know the difference between
Yes,
a
and I agree
blank
with that. Yeah.
and a live round. Check your firearms.
What I'm saying
if it's
is-
a real gun, then you need to check it. I don't care if you're acting a scene out or not. I mean, that's just basic safety.
Okay. Anybody? Yeah, go ahead, James.
So right. So for the record, I worked in TV for 11 years, both above and below the line as union and non-union. And the ludicrous amount of stories that have come out in the last 5 days, literally like emails and text messages that got sent, keeping in mind that Alec Baldwin is one of the 2 or 3 EPs on this project, ergo top down, ergo responsibility. There were multiple complaints filed both in the union and to the actual studio and to the people who were funding the project. And they literally had people walk off, and Alec Baldwin and the other EPs were hiring scabs and having them driven out, people who had limited to no experience. when you're using firearms on set, it's a very specific set of prop masters. They have rules, they have criteria, they have checklists. All that shit went out the window when they decided to get rid of the union people who were literally complaining that there were too many accidents happening on the set of the film because they were working them 14, 16, 18 hours a day and then forcing them to drive an hour back to the hotel to sleep because they wouldn't even get them a hotel closer because they didn't want to spend the money. Like, I know people who are anti-union likes to, they love to come up with all the reasons why unions are horrible, but unions set a labor standard for a reason, and usually that reason is safety.
So does OSHA.
Well, OSHA sets regulatory standards for standard job site safety, but the
What's
unions
up?
delegate
This is Bass. How you
specific
doing?
levels
Welcome.
of
Thank you so much for hanging
of
out.
overwatch and redundancies and shit like that because
Doing
they're
well tonight.
professional riggers. They're hauling 10,000 pounds up with a cable. Like, these are all like well-trained professionals. And to chase your professionals off the set after they complain that it's an unsafe environment, and then you bring in a bunch of scabs and 2 people die, that's your problem. You did that.
Exactly like the Twilight Zone movie. I mean, everything since the Twilight Zone movie and freaking Brandon Lee getting shot should have. I mean, this shouldn't happen again.
Why?
you know?
Why do we even have live ammunition on sets at all? You think by now we would have the technology to have either CGI or
They're probably
practical?
playing with it.
You know what's upsetting is if I'm Seth Rogen and I make weed movies, and in every weed movie they make him smoke tobacco because he's
They
not
get
allowed
to use
have
live
weed.
ammo. Hell yeah!
Yeah, these guys had to get to have live ammo, and Seth Rogen's coughing a lung out because he's smoking tobacco out of a bong. He's the real
The real
victim
hero here.
Yeah, but for real, so you actually think he should go to jail, huh?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think so too.
really?
But
Really?
I do think there needs to
Yeah.
be an investigation to see, like James said, how far along this line it goes.
How
to
much
who was-
negligence?
how much negligence and who along the line of the whole, like from the person that had the gun there, that had the bullet in the gun, that gave it to Alec Baldwin, all the way down the line. That's what we need to have an investigation into.
But Alec Baldwin needs to go
Now-
to jail now. We know he pulled the trigger. And
But,
didn't check
there
the
needs to
gun.
be a
Wait, so
case
that-
in a
But does an actor have to have that kind of?
I think anybody that handles a firearm should be fucking.
especially
have
when
some
they've
basic-
had
What if
live
what if they're
rounds.
assuming it's fake?
But they
Well,
they were
it's
using
a
real
real gun that
live
fires
guns.
blanks.
Yes, they're using live guns. They're using real guns.
Oh,
and they
just
actually
fake ammo.
right.
Yeah, they're blanks. There's just powder and it's crimped on the end. There's no projectile in it. But you can still kill
But the
someone with a
casing,
blank
the
too.
in the casing can still come out, or
Yeah.
pieces can come out. There's a whole bunch of different problems, right? But the issue here is they should not be using any type of live ammunition or live gun in cinema anymore. I think we need to find a way, either minimize the amount of it, or maybe making them
CGI.
like CGI with like more futuristic weapons or something like that. Or if we want to do old style weapons, have them be completely CGI.
Use your fingers.
It's just a plastic gun that has nothing that can hurt anybody, and then they just make it look realistic
Use
with
your
all their
finger.
paints. Exactly. Whatever.
Either
Their fingers
that or
are
just
fine
make
too.
sure actors know what the fuck they're doing before they accept a load
I
of
don't even.
firearm.
I don't even think
Do
they
we
should
have
do
any?
that.
All right, okay, hang on. You guys are pilling me on this. Do we have any Baldwin defenders out there?
Only Stephen Baldwin.
Oh, okay.
You thought it was gonna go the other way.
Actually, I feel like I don't know enough about, like, I don't know enough about either one of these things. What is common in acting and what is like common in gun stuff. I don't know fuck about guns, honestly. But I don't know. I find it interesting that people are so quickly taking sides on something that seems like in any other scenario we would just wait and see for more details to come out, right? Like, doesn't it seem a little bit weird that so many people jumped on it really quickly without
That's why I
knowing
didn't
what the
even-
He
fuck's
pulled
going
the
on?
trigger though. Did he
And-
check the
and-
gun? If he had checked the gun, he wouldn't know that there was a live round in there and not a fake one.
Okay, they've been reporting on this for a week. In Hollywood, it's very insular. Like, there were literally smatterings about this in like Variety and the Hollywood Reporter for 3 days last week. the text message chains have been passed back and forth. Like fucking Mario Lopez and the people at Insider had the text
Mario
messages
Lopez.
that the riggers
Fucking
were sending
Slater,
each other
baby.
that they were walking off the set because union people put out messages to other union people. So it's not like this just popped up. Like people have been talking about the deteriorating safety conditions there for a week, and it's been circulating through the industry and industry media.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't fucking think that anybody was gonna say that he should go to jail, but I guess we'll have to wait and see what comes out.
Yeah, I
A
mean,
lot
if
of
I
people are
pointed-
saying that like it's pretty cringe that you're expecting you know, actors do shit. The whole point of acting is that you don't have to be an expert at the thing that you're doing.
then
It's
don't give them real
basic.
guns.
It's basic safety, though. Exactly.
I mean,
So
yeah,
then
I mean,
shouldn't
I'm
the
not
it's
blame
gonna
literally the
fall-
lowest level.
If somebody hands me a gun on the range and I don't check it and I point it at somebody and shoot them, I'm gonna go to jail. Actors don't get a pass on crime just because they
So-
get paid more.
Okay,
My only
cool.
question,
Yeah,
I
go ahead,
guess,
Zach.
because I had no idea what you guys were talking about.
Sorry, surprise topic.
No,
yeah.
it's okay. God damn it, Heem.
Topic.
The reason I didn't include it was because I didn't think anybody actually. I thought everybody would agree that like, okay, we gotta wait and see what happens, and you know, it's accident on set, and now all
No,
of a
it's
sudden
okay.
everyone's going the other way. So,
No,
anyways,
I just have a question. So the guns or the bullets that they put in these guns, is there a way to know the difference between one that is a blank and one that is
Yes,
not?
you look at the
It's
weapon.
very
and
obvious.
While it's already in there.
you have to
like-
check it. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it depends what kind of gun. If you're using a revolver, you need to actually take the rounds out. If you're using a auto loader, you need to pull the freaking magazine out of the bottom. You'll be able to tell immediately. The tip of the round has no bullet in it.
Well,
There's
I've
no
never seen a
projectile.
blank. I've only
It's just
ever
a crimped.
shot.
It's just crimped metal.
so wouldn't the crunch? It seems like you're putting a lot on poor Alec here. Doesn't the blame fall more on the person who handed him the gun in
I mean-
preparation? I assume it wasn't him.
You shouldn't handle a gun if you don't know how to check it. I mean, it's just simple. Like the same thing that Hollywood
ba-
expects us rednecks in the woods to know. You know, maybe they should know.
Do you know the rule when somebody hands you a gun?
Fuck no.
You
So
check.
you check the gun. As soon as, whenever
Wait,
somebody
but
hands
if
you a
hang
gun,
on, okay, 1 sec. I'm a Canadian guy, okay? Imagine I'm Seth Rogen. I come down to California to shoot a movie, a stoner
Seth
movie.
Rogen
Let's
didn't
say
shoot
Pineapple
anybody at
Express.
Pineapple Express. He didn't shoot anybody at Pineapple Express though. Seth
Maybe
Rogen probably
that's
good,
why. Maybe.
probably got good trigger.
so here's the thing, Heem. If I handed you a gun and you don't know anything about guns, I would tell you before I hand you the gun, these are the
Clear.
rules of guns. Like, never, you always check the gun, always clear the gun, never point it at anything you don't want to destroy, never place your finger on the trigger till you're ready to fire. Those are the basic
would you say
rules.
this? Would you say the same thing if you had like a toy RPG for a scene in?
If it had an actual, that's what I'm saying. I don't think we should
You
ever
can tell
have
the difference between
any rounds
toy.
that are even remotely close to being able to kill somebody. I just don't think it's necessary in film anymore. Like, I just don't think it is. I think
someone's
we should be able to
in chat. People are saying that he was told it was
You still check.
cold. It was cold.
Yeah, it's
You
not an excuse though. If somebody
still
says,
check
"Oh,
every
here's a
time.
cold gun," and I pull the trigger and shoot myself in the foot, I can't sue the guy that handed me the gun with a live round in it. I'm
Well,
gonna have to
that's
pay.
a completely
this.
different scenario, though,
Yeah,
isn't
actors just aren't held to the same account as us the regular folk.
Alex gonna go to trial and be like,
Or
sorry, sir, I'm
police,
an
I mean.
actor.
Yeah,
and Judge is
right?
like, case
He's got
dismissed.
qualified immunity like cops, I guess. That's good.
Do you think a lot of your hatred is coming because he does a killer Trump impression, Crunch?
No, I mean I don't give a shit about that. I really don't, and I don't like the cops very much either. So
If it was
I mean,
any other
to
person,
say
it would
that
be the
I'm just
same
this
thing.
bogus Trumper is just. I
No,
mean,
I'm just
you guys are-
asking. I didn't
Oh,
say.
yeah.
I'm just asking.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that shit. I still watch SNL. I think that shit's funny. I mean, just like I laugh when they made fun of Bush and laughed when they made fun of Obama. SNL's been making fun of people since day one in
You
politics.
still find it funny now, though? That's pretty crunge.
Yeah,
Cringe.
that's the most concerning take you've had on this
No,
panel.
it depends who the guest host is. Sometimes they have people that are funnier than the rest of the cast on, right?
All right, fair
But-
enough. All right, so fuck, you guys pilled me on this. I don't know. I still don't agree with you guys, but I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Treat every weapon as if it were loaded right, until you clear it.
All right. Well, do you think that this will be a learning experience for Hollywood now?
I hope
This was
so.
like,
Well, the Brandon Lee should have been a learning experience, right? And it
nobody
seems
knows
like-
And also,
Brandon Lee. I
not to
don't know who the
mention,
fuck
not to
he is.
Well, the
mention,
Crow.
I
Dude,
want
you
to
don't know the Crow.
I want to bring it back even further than that. This has been an issue in Magic for many, like literally centuries. They've done the bullet catches since we've had guns in Magic. There's been many people that have been
What?
killed by the bullet catch trick in Magic.
It's some
So just-
sort of magic trick,
It's a
right?
Oh.
magic trick. Penn and Teller do it now, and like they do it in a safe way. They don't have real bullets, blah blah blah. But like it's been a thing in Magic for many, many, many decades. Okay, so this is something that is there's no excuse for this in any type of setting. And he had this, especially and again in Hollywood directly with the Brandon Lee thing. But I just think that if we take this out, and again, you may have some people like more purists with like cinematography and things like that having real guns. I don't care. I just think it's just fucking dumb. Should not have anything that can kill somebody on a set. I just think that should be base level safety. They have so many other regulations for movies and stuff like that. I just think it's a no brainer.
All right, let me ask you a question, Biggs. James, go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask you, Heem, do you really like you don't see this as like even if you don't take the he's the last line of defense in properly handling a firearm and checking if it's loaded defense, like as a boss level thing, because he was the EP of this. This is like if you work in a science lab and your boss just decides to like
do
get
some
rid
negligent
of,
shit.
Yeah, they get rid of like the people who know what the fuck is going on, and he hires like 3 random yahoos off the street, and then you end up getting
hurt or
poisoned at
something.
work.
Yeah.
Isn't it your boss's fault because he created an unsafe work environment?
Sure. So I think that you bring up a great point. And then
Peace.
someone in chat was saying that like maybe Baldwin the actor isn't responsible, but Baldwin the producer is. And I can see that. But I would also respond and say a lot of times I feel like these actors, they get in these executive producer roles and it's just they get their name on, and a lot of it is probably just financial participation. We will have to wait and see exactly what the chain was, like who sent the email to who saying get the bullets, and maybe he was involved and maybe he wasn't. That's kind of my take on it.
Whoever pulled the trigger committed the crime.
See, I don't know. I don't know about that. Like, if he was given a gun and was told, "Yo, listen, this is a cold. There's nothing to worry about. You're fucking."
I have a question for you, Heem, real quick. I know you're
Yeah,
going to
what's
ask
up?
me something. If somebody handed you a gun, even on a set, and said it was a cold gun, would you point that weapon at somebody and pull the trigger? Would
Listen,
you personally do it?
After
I'm just
this,
asking-
yeah,
no, I'm
gonna
just
fucking,
asking
in the
you.
future, yeah, when I have my acting debut, I'm gonna fucking check because I'm gonna remember Baldwin fucking shot this guy, this person.
So,
Sorry.
dude,
Yeah, now I will.
okay,
But
so
no, I wouldn't. Otherwise, no. There's a lot of situations. It's like if they told
Okay.
you this is
We have-
a fake bomb. Okay,
We
a
have precedent
TNT.
with Brandon Lee, though. I mean, like everybody knows that story. Alec Baldwin knows that story, right?
Yeah, I guess.
He's
Fair
just
enough.
Canadian. It's just coming out. He's like, "Well, he said he was sorry."
I don't know. It's just I feel like we give Hollywood actors more of a benefit of the doubt on something that we would throw like someone like you or me in jail like tomorrow for doing.
I think it's a part of the job, though.
Like we were shooting an independent film, and I'm like, oh yeah, the random dude I hired said it was a cold gun. Do you think I'd go to jail tomorrow?
Interesting. I guess that's you make an interesting point. All right, are we done with this surprise topic? You want to move on to the next one? Any last points on
have we
this?
changed your mind yet,
Nothing.
Heem?
You guys
Have
are
we
making
fully
compelling
changed it?
points. The most compelling points came from James. I'm not gonna lie, because he did bring up a good point about how there was a lot of shitty
Biased.
work situations, and they got rid of the union workers to bring in unexperienced people. Like that shit's pretty fucked up. And have been seeing things where people are saying it was like a ticking time bomb, basically, that some sort of accident was gonna happen on that set. So I mean, it's really sad. I feel bad for. I kind of feel bad for him, man. Like he's just an actor, and now he's got the death of someone on his hands. Like,
Didn't he actually have another death of an act like a
I
car
think in
accident?
the
Wait,
shadow,
drink-
right?
huh?
Didn't he have
Was
another
it in the
death?
shadow?
On set?
No, not on set. No, I thought he had another death that he killed somebody in a car accident.
I don't know. Maybe
don't
he
know.
was just really unlucky. Who knows? All right. Thank you guys so much. That was interesting, fascinating surprise topic. Did you guys like the surprise topic? Should I make that a feature? Or do you
Yeah,
think
it's cool. I liked it.
It's a good idea. It's a good
Alright.
idea.
Keeps us on our toes.
I loved
you
it
know?
so much, Heem.
Sorry, Zach. All right, let's go to the final topic of the evening. You guys have all been amazing. Thank you so much for joining. The last topic is: should college and universities end legacy admissions? If you think they should, why? And if you think they shouldn't, why do you think they exist in the first place? I'm really excited to hear about this. It's not necessarily a topical one or whatever. It's always up for discussion. So I will kick it off with the person with their hand up. Go ahead, Stardust, lead us off here.
I think it's really funny because for all the people that decide to complain so much about affirmative action, but we've still got legacy admissions. My goodness, my goodness. Yeah, we should do something about legacy admissions before we do anything about anything else. Really. Maybe it made sense in the past for some reason. I don't know why it would, but yeah, we should just do away with it. So yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Straight into the point. Let's go to Binks.
Yeah, I'm for legacy admissions. Actually, I think, I'll start. Let me preface. I was the first person in my family to graduate from university, but going into like fraternities and going into people who have had multi-generational families going to a university, the people who do that usually are more invested in the institution of the university. They usually care more about it. It's a part of their lives, it's a part of their community. It's not just like a thing you go to get a piece of paper and leave, right? And so like for a place like Amherst and a place like Harvard where people like really invest themselves in those types of institutions, and like they want their kids to go there, they want their grandkids to go there. It's like a part of like, it's a big part of like their life, you know what I mean? And so when you like think of universities as like institutions, like those people tend to be more involved in like the community of the university. And I think you need people who have been there for like more than one generation, or it not, you don't need to, but like it helps to have people who like have that sort of like ingrained like passion for that institution.
Okay. Let's do Zaf.
I think that legacy admission is trash, and
Tell us how you really feel, Zaf. Go ahead.
it just it should just be abolished. There's literally no reason to have it other than to keep rich people and the prestige of going to these universities like completely unattainable for someone who was born poor from like being able to attend. It's trash. The end.
All right, short and sweet. Let's go
Thank
to
you.
Biggs. Can't hear you, bro.
Muted.
Sorry.
All
I
good.
don't really care for in legacy preferences. I think college acceptance should be based purely on merit, best scores, best extracurriculars, like whatever criteria the colleges use. I think that's what entry should be based on. As far as like having it be investment in institutions, I do kind of agree with that, but I don't think it's like a necessity for colleges. Maybe in cases where it's like a basic tie between candidates, that's maybe fine to give it to legacy priority. Colleges have reference letters, things like that. I think that goes to play. But overall, I think it should merit. So that's where I stand.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to James.
Legacy admissions are trash. They are essentially affirmative action for mediocre rich white people. If you want to get into a good university, I don't know, maybe suck less and get good grades instead of having mommy pull strings for you. I mean, I know this is a real wild opinion I'm throwing out here, but even in the article that you sent us, Heem, for the review on this, they were showing like Amherst has something like a 9% acceptance rate. But out of all the people they do accept, like, I don't know, 20 something percent or like 18% or something were legacy. So you're literally just taking spots that could be taken by people who, I don't know, have like the educational academic acuity to actually like complete that 4-year program and actually do something with their degree.
All right. So we got 2 they're trash. We got 1 they're good. We'll see what Crunch has to say. Crunch, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't think people should get preference to get into colleges that they're not qualified for, which is why I think we should get rid of affirmative action and legacy. So
Okay.
probably gonna be a hot take, but there it is.
All right, Stardust, hands up, firing it away.
Yeah, so I understand what you're saying about people being invested in the institution, Binks, but that just what you told me is really they're doing like a marketing scheme. Like, oh, we'll give you legacy admission for your children, so that's you should be invested in our institution. You should come here. We'll give you this. Like I don't know. That's kind of what it seems like to me. And if that's the case, it's just a sales tactic, and I don't really care for it. So,
But like, if you're going to Amherst or like Harvard or one of these giant, like, why are you going there? You're going to be in like the fucking Skull and Bones Society. You want to like profile, like connect with like high profile like people, right? And those people usually come like from like these huge families that have been there for like a long time, right? And so like the idea is like, okay, we get away with that. We destroyed like all that bullshit, right? And we could do that. But to me, like if we're looking like if we're looking at actually bringing more people into like into like this institution, I think we should like actually like bring them in. We should bring more poor people in. We should bring more people who haven't had access to universities and let them connect and let them be part of like this thing that's been here for like hundreds of years, like Harvard, right?
So the Amherst had actually, when they said they were getting rid of the legacy, they also announced at the same time that they were adding acceptance of cycling more Pell grants from applicants. And then they gave an actual example of another school, and I want to say it wasn't Rutgers, but it was something up in like New Jersey. And they had the same thing where they had cut their legacy admission and had also increased the amount of people they would take on Pell grants by like 12 or 13%. So yes, it goes on merit as far as grades, but now you're getting a larger spread of different people from different economic levels that get to attend the university. And most of those people didn't, because all the spots where they would have accepted students on Pell grants, they instead were accepting wealthy legacy children.
Wasn't that there that lady in the article though? I read it a few days ago who said that like they're really, it doesn't really have that much of an impact to equity.
I mean, how could it not though?
if that's 20%, right? And let's say like 20, if it's really 20% of the admissions are legacy, right? And we do away with legacy, right? And even like let's say it's not the full 20% that are like scholarships or whatever. Like there'd still be a sizable difference in the amount of like money that they're making, right?
Well,
Yeah,
I have yeah, go ahead, Big. Go ahead.
go ahead.
No,
Okay.
you.
No, you go ahead. You go
No,
ahead.
you. No, you, bro. No, you. No,
I
for
was
real,
gonna-
you go.
I was gonna quote that an article. It says legacy. It was this managing director of a nonprofit said that legacy admissions are bad from a public relations perspective, but ending them would do almost nothing to improve socioeconomic diversity at these institutions or increase lower income students' likelihood of being admitted. And they go and then they kind of delve into like the how true and how false that argument. That's what I was thinking.
They go in and they say that cutting legacy admissions only helps that if you're also increasing the amount of students you're willing to accept on grant or student loan dollars.
Okay.
Then
otherwise
it
it'll
becomes more
still be-
efficacious. Yeah, it'll just be different wealthy kids.
Two kids whose
have a
parents
lot of
didn't
money.
go there.
Right.
Right.
So if you're going to cut legacy admissions and then also increase the amount of people that you're going to take on student aid, then there's no way you can't be opening yourself to a more diverse economic student base, just mathematically speaking.
Well, the thing that like I immediately thought of when I thought of this topic was like HBCUs because I'm in the South and there are people who are like all about HBCUs.
What is that? Sorry, what is that?
It's historically about black colleges that like
Oh, okay.
their colleges
Universities.
that, like, yeah, right. And I mean, there are like communities, like there are just people who are super about these, and they want their kids to go, they want their grandkids to go, and it's like a big part of just like their community. You know what I mean? Um, Now, I mean, I'm not tied to legacy admissions per se, but I think I like the idea of like a community staying within that an institution and trying to make it grow and trying to pass it on to the next generation. You know what I mean? Um, but go ahead.
Okay. Do you guys think Crunch Lord is correct when he says that you should end legacy admissions and affirmative action?
I agree with.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it's consistent, but I mean, based on what he believes, but I don't agree with that. I think we can redo affirmative action to make it actually better, right? Certainly, we can do that. I think. But I would never end it outright. I just think that there's a lot more we can do actually, because like for example, if you look at like the way that we do it in the U.S., all of Asia is grouped under one category, and so Indian people and Chinese people and certain groups, they
Iranians.
Well, you wouldn't have to separate them by
Iranians, yeah,
race if you got
yeah,
rid of
and
that, wouldn't you?
here's the thing. Here's the thing. So let me finish. Like, what I'm saying is that while these like groups are all like the model minority and tend to do pretty well, and therefore admissions can be significantly harder, and it makes sense. People who are also grouped under Asia, right? Under Asian are people who actually do worse than a lot of the population, who come from lower socioeconomic statuses than a lot of the nation, right? So like, so affirmative action as it is too in my opinion is too um non-specific in certain areas. It just doesn't do anybody anything good when all of Asia is grouped under one group. So yeah.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, so I don't necessarily think that try to push for better education preliminary 12 giving these chance. I think private school, charter school, proper way. Odd fad that's going. I think the more options, probably the best. Start from the grassroots, bottom up, feed into these colleges by giving opportunity, having their money follow the kids, right? Stuff like that. I think once we get to the higher levels, we're talking about like the upper echelon of top 1% colleges, Harvard, Amherst. I think Amherst only had 1,000 students and acceptance rate. I mean, these are like the upper echelon. I think these are things are like total minority of what we about. I think state school, things like that, like I went to. That's what we should focus on. Things that are actually attained by the average American, no matter what your race, ethnicity is. I think that if we open up these things, even community colleges, I think Biden has a plan part of the infrastructure bill. Community colleges, I think that's actually one of the best things. That sounds
That got
completely.
wiped out.
Well, I'm what?
That got wiped out.
I thought it was still. I thought they were still discussing. Did it get wiped out fully? Okay. Well, I think things like that, then, if we could try to find a way to do it, are the way to go. I think that if we do that from the bottom up, we don't need to be worried about these freaking upper echelons of the fucking richest of the rich. This is. I think another conversation. I don't know how Pete wants to get this, but endowments. I think that's what we need to be focusing on. Maybe taking away some of these endowments, having it being put towards more youth or general public. Maybe that can be a conversation.
All
I
right.
mean, I hear quick defenses of affirmative action and stuff, but like, have you looked at the failure rate of that program in totality? Right?
What do you
Like
mean by failure rate?
well, people go get into schools that they're not really qualified for, and then they fail, right? So affirmative action not work. You know, I mean,
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely a
I,
problem.
I think you should. I mean, it'd be like me getting a job as a fucking engineer
Looter.
with just basic
Looter?
math knowledge. I don't know, and then trying to like, or an architect designing like bridges and shit, and then you know, the bridge breaks, and I'm like, well, I mean, I'm not supposed to be here anyways, but
So wait, you're
you know,
saying is the dropout rate for people who get into colleges from affirmative action is higher than just the regular college student?
yes.
Okay, interesting.
That
I never.
doesn't say anything to me though.
What do
Like
you mean?
that's
That means
still
they drop out of schools that they're not prepared to be
right.
in?
That could be a lot of
So
factors. Yeah, go ahead,
actually,
Stardust.
that what so right. So that doesn't say anything to me because that actually
you're
would
not
prove
listening.
that affirmative action is giving opportunities to people who are still continuing to have hardship today. Right. A lot of the reason why people drop
What?
out is because they're not they aren't prepared in certain ways that as their peers are, right? And so that shows, if anything, that we still need something. We need
S-
something better
So fix
than
education
affirmative
before
action
college.
Yeah,
as it
that's
is.
that's what I
Yeah,
said.
fix
Yeah.
it. Fix education before secondary school. I don't
Yeah,
know.
but
So
we
we
still
can't
have
fix
to.
both things.
What are you
What
talking
the
about? You don't need
problem? Okay,
affirmative action if everybody's on an
yeah.
equal playing field with education before college.
So does
Why
I
would
it
you
mean,
need
mean
to
it's
do
not
both?
even about. It's not even.
your classes?
It's not even education. It's about like how many schools are funded by their local communities and the taxes in them, right? Like
I think all schools.
just by that, right? You're going to have some public schools are significantly shittier than others, and
Yeah,
they're
so
going to
fix
be
them.
and right, but there are people who also are economically challenged who end up dropping out, right? Who are of those categories, and that in itself is not something you can so easily fix.
Yeah.
Just like
Well,
the school
just
system is
fixing
not
affirmative
something you can
action without
easily.
fixing what you just listed is just ridiculous.
So
Well,
Makes no
we need to
sense.
fix them all. We need to
They need
fix
to
them
just get rid
all.
of affirmative action and fix those problems, and then you
uh,
don't need affirmative
the
action because
I
people
think
get in on their merits.
I think the problem is that you can't put pause on people's lives and then say, like, okay, we're gonna stop everything now, fix the schools, whatever. You can go back to the high school, or whatever, learn
So
properly, and then you can,
I guess
Well,
the
you
issue
drop out
here.
and you
No,
have
wait.
student debt that
I
you can't
guess.
afford to pay back because you
Ex-
didn't get the degree. I mean, I don't know how that's helping people.
Well, the thing
Not
is
helping
that,
minorities at all.
well, the ones that don't drop out, it's helping them. No,
Helping them a
Yeah, well, when
lot.
the
A lot
percentage
of
of
these
people
people are the
dropping out
well, I'd have
still
to
what
has
is,
to
see.
get
Yeah,
them back.
so
tell,
Because
okay.
tell,
A
even if you
lot
get
of
a
these
Pell Grant, right?
people,
If you
a
drop
lot
out
of
of
these
school,
people
yeah.
are
you
the
Let
pay
her,
the
let
first
her,
in their
resume.
Stardust. Go ahead,
family.
Stardust. Go ahead.
A lot of these people are the first in their family of even getting a degree, right? Like like affirmative action, them dropping out is not a sign that we need to do away with it. Them dropping out is a sign that we still have people who are continually held back by their history.
There's a
That's
lot of
what it
barriers.
means.
Yeah.
Zip code.
As someone who
Poor
went
people
to
are poor people. I don't think it should be based on race of why you get into school.
That's
Well,
based on zip code.
but income is often based off of zip code and in that very same thing, race, because of the community that you live in, right? People have less like generational wealth built up because of the communities that they live in, and people have are even more behind in some cases because of the communities that they're in. If you are
Are you
growing
saying
up,
white people
hey,
aren't
wait,
poor?
just a second. No, white people are poor, right? Um, uh, again, just because you are just because everybody has the same capability of being poor does not erase the fact that we have history that enabled people to be held back. Right now, what if I can get back
So
to
you
what I
should
was
do the
saying earlier?
opposite, right?
Yeah,
Now
if you
that'll
want to
fix
keep,
it.
wait,
do you want to keep interrupting me, or do you want to
no,
let
let
me
I mean,
finish
you could say
what
the
I'm
same thing
saying?
over and over again.
wait,
No,
It's not
Crunch,
I'm
new
let
not.
her
true.
finish.
You're not
Crunch,
even
let her
letting.
finish.
You're not
Sorry.
even letting me finish what I was getting to. Oh
Please
my
don't
god.
interrupt. Please don't interrupt. This is a nice
Uh,
panel.
yeah. So yeah. Like finally, what I was getting to is on top of all those things that we just went over, there is the very real fact that when somebody is hungry, if a child grows up hungry, it is going to affect them. Uh, their brain development is going to affect um, their uh, their preparedness in school. If your only meal is in your school, then yes, that is going to affect how well you're going to do in school later. I mean, it affects IQ. It's horrible. So yeah, we need to keep it. We need to reform it, make it better.
I have some actual statistics here. People in chat were getting upset that Crunch is speaking out of his ass, but I'm gonna back you up a little bit with some data. So I'm looking at a paper here called "The Effects of Affirmative Action: Evidence from the University of San Diego,
Is that the one from
California."
Is that the one from 2005?
That is the one from 2005.
Yeah,
So
there's better papers, but
it's
go
okay.
ahead.
Even still, though, this has interesting results. So, on average, students that received affirmative action programs received a grade point of what GPA below non-affirmative action students? Do you think, Crunch Lord? What GPA do you think an average affirmative action student was able to get lower than the non-affirmative action?
Wait,
student?
is this a trap?
No, I'm just asking. What do you think? Like, I think it's a.
I mean, I would probably say like maybe 2.5 or 2.0. I don't know. Are you saying like failing GPA or
No, I'm saying like, okay, I'm saying a student who gets in without affirmative action, let's say their GPA is 3.5. What would
Okay.
be the affirmative action student average GPA to get in with the same?
I mean, I couldn't really guess that without knowing the
Okay.
study. Like you're looking at the study, just tell me.
So it's 0.3 only, the GPA difference. So if someone gets in with a 3.5 without affirmative action, you still need to get a 3.2 with affirmative action to get it, which I think is, it's not like a 2.0 or anything like that.
So they're
Um,
failing because of economic reasons, probably.
Well, no,
Or
I'm
they're
just saying
dropping out
when
due
it
to that.
comes to like who they're accepting, they're still accepting people who are like academically accomplished. It's just like that. I think that a lot of times when people speak about affirmative action, it makes it sound like, oh, someone with like a 2.0 average is getting in. But this
The
study is
point
showing
is that
like,
it's not equal, though. That's the point. Like that's the
Yeah.
whole.
Sure.
It should be based purely on that. But
I mean,
I
how
do
many
understand
people
what
with
the,
3.5s didn't get into the school because
right, and I
of
think,
affirmative action?
and I agree
okay, but
with.
Okay, so
Wait,
so here's the thing.
I
Here's
wanted
the
to
thing. I
agree
think
with
I
you
know
so
where
bad.
Heem is going with this. I think I know where he's going with this. If somebody is only has a 0.3 difference in GPA as somebody else, yet there's so many of people in the affirmative group that are dropping out, it seems to me that it's not even due to their educational prowess, right? It seems to me that would indicate that there are other things going on that
well,
make
yeah,
this
and
person drop out.
the
Once they get to
graduation rate, just to be
college,
clear, let me just speak on the thing. The graduation rate was the difference in graduation rates is larger, with 57% of affirmative action students graduating compared to 73% of non-affirmative action students. So
Yes,
there's a
that
little bit of a
indicates
It's a big
yeah,
difference.
that's a
that it's
huge
not
difference.
it's the indicates to me what that indicates to me is that if these people are relatively at the same playing field intellectually, and there's still this huge disparity in who is dropping out, that shows me that it is specifically the surroundings of this person that has affected them and made them unable to finish their school. And that is why we need to provide those people more opportunities, and we need to actually even make it we need to I feel like we really could work on making affirmative
What's up,
action
Jay Freak?
more
Welcome,
specific
welcome.
in a way that would help those people.
Do
And
you?
I think that again,
Let her finish, please.
I'm somebody who is severely disadvantaged by this, and I will continue to be severely disadvantaged by affirmative action, even if we reform it, because I'm from a demographic that generally tends to do well. And I'm still pro affirmative action because I know that there are people out there who won't get the opportunity to improve their lives, to be the first people who go to college in their family, and they deserve to have that opportunity as well.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I feel about it, is that there's probably, as someone who has been through the university experience and whatnot, listen, I would never go and get my PhD if I didn't have like financial help
How
from
you
my
doing tonight,
parents at
Jay
a
Freak?
time when I was in my undergrad and stuff. And, I still worked and whatnot, but I can't imagine people who, have to, the having to work versus not having to work, like these make such massive differences in your ability to succeed in university, that I feel like a lot of times that has to be what it is. Or a lot of times I think people also feel guilt if they come from a lower socioeconomic background, if like their parents are struggling to pay bills and stuff, and they're not, they could be working, but instead they're at university, there could be a lot of pressure in that way as well to, drop out or get more work to send money back. I don't know. There's a
If
lot of
your family
situations.
is in a bad situation as well monetarily, and they need your help, like, you're going to drop out, and that's probably going to be more likely with that group
Yeah.
of people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you still shouldn't get preferential treatment based on race. That's just fighting racism with more racism. So I
No,
don't know,
it's not. So here's the thing: when you
because there's
split it
the
up
white people live in
further.
those same zip codes.
So when you
So I don't
actually
know.
no, they don't. They don't
What the
actually.
fuck?
They
Yeah, only
don't.
black
No,
people are
they're
poor. Got it.
okay.
Cool.
No, that's not what I'm saying. You're not. You're
Give me a zip
actually.
code that white people don't live in.
Bro, you want to let me finish? You want to let me talk at all?
You're talking out of your ass.
I'm not talking out of my ass. You're talking out of your fucking ass. You jerk yourself off every fucking
Oof.
day. Whenever
Oof.
you're on a panel, all you do is jerk
Big
yourself
oof.
off.
Be
And
Okay,
I'm
mad.
a
okay.
little
Stay
bit
mad.
tired
Stay
of it,
mad,
dude.
Stardust.
I'm a little bit tired of it.
I don't
because
know.
I'm
Funny.
tired of you
Be mad.
spreading your cum-covered hand over everything. Okay,
Yeah,
Yeah, we're having some
All
fun
right,
topics.
all right,
man.
listen, sorry, Stardust. Sorry. Love you guys. All right, I didn't know you guys had animosity from before. If you guys had told me, I would have worked on the scheduling a little bit differently. James, why don't we go to you? What do you have to say about this?
I'm going to throw out a couple of almost non sequitur points just because, the volleying here isn't going to improve on this. Number one, if you're saying that your problem with affirmative action is that it doesn't address the actual problem, which is unequal schooling amongst economic sectors and races, then unless you're willing to drop about, $20 billion a year in federal spending to literally fix all of those schools, to get all of those education systems up to the same standard, you should be really fucking stoked that affirmative action is there to suck up the $20 billion educational shortfall that plagues American high schools in the first place.
True, it is a cheaper option, I guess.
But you're still not. You're still setting
Unless
up
you
kids
want to
for
spend
failure.
$20 billion to fix the schools.
I
Listen,
would much. That's one of the things I would be willing to put money into, definitely. But what I'm saying is, I think Crunch is saying is that we're literally setting up kids for failure. When I want to push back to what Stardust said, like obviously everybody has their own circumstances.
Sorry,
don't you
Stardust,
think-
I had to meet you.
Don't you think once we're in college, right? You're in these things, and you see this huge disparity in the dropout rates. Like obviously, people do have family lives outside of college, right? Like I went to college, I know that, I understand that. But like once you're in there, is there really that much difference in the
Yes.
college setting currently
Yes.
today? And what
Yes,
would
and
that
that's
be?
why it's a-
And what would that
That's
be?
why you're talking about a dropout rate, not a thrown out because you have poor academic rate. Those are two different things. If you drop out, it can be for a multitude of reasons,
Okay.
not the least
That's
of
true.
which
Oftentimes
That's
economic.
true.
economic or family. Okay, that's not the
Yeah.
percentage of
Do you
people who are
think-
getting kicked out for having low grades.
True.
That-
Or
That
partying
is
too
true.
hard.
But
Yeah.
do you think that do you think that it's that hard for they're actually being stopped from getting the loans? Is that what you think it is, or what do you think the actual
That could
issue
be
is?
that could be
Or
part of it
or is it
because
that they
every
don't
year
want to
they-
get the loans? Like what is the issue?
It
Either
could-
way,
it
either
could-
way.
Either way.
Right. So
yeah,
if
it
it's their
doesn't matter.
decision,
Either
if
way,
it's their
still a
decision,
disparity.
if it's their
So-
decision to do that,
No.
that's their
I mean,
choice, right?
alright,
You can
alright.
still take more loans,
Zach,
right,
I'm
and do what you want to do. Like I had a Pell Grant. I was one of the people that went to a state university under a Pell Grant. Okay, I had about $40,000 in loans when I got out of college. I have paid those off now. It took me. I did the 10-year plan. You make your payments. You do your thing. That was my choice to make. I did that, right? I didn't have help from my parents. I think that obviously people do have issues, and I don't want to like push those under the rug. But I think that if you are making the decision to go to college, take on those loans, it should be a decision that you want to follow through. And if you make the decision to stop that, it's not my fault, and I don't think you should neglect other students from getting those spots in college and removing those people from the ability to have that spot because you don't want to make the decision to follow through. That's where I have an issue.
Okay.
It's
I
not
want to hear from
even a-
Zath. Wait, sorry. I want to hear from Zath. She had her hand up. You're muted.
Um,
Oh, no, you're not. No, you're good.
okay. So, yes, you can get Pell Grants for going to school, but then after that, you have to be able to like eat while you're going to school. You have to be able to buy your fucking books, and we all know how expensive those books are. I mean, you have to be able to get to your classes. You have to be able to survive and get through those classes. So, like, yeah, you could do it, but like tons of other people can't.
Okay, I understand that.
It's
But
kind of like a Squid Game
Do you?
argument
no,
almost.
But what I'm
Right.
saying is like I had zero help. Okay, I took
Okay.
I
That's
got
you.
right. What I'm
Yeah.
saying is like
You're
that's
not 5
me.
billion people.
But what I'm saying is, if somebody makes the decision to do this and take a spot from somebody else, why should we feel bad for them when they have to make the decision not to do that? That's what I'm saying. Like, I want
Well,
people to go to
like,
college. I want people to have better education from the start. But what I'm saying is, when you're taking spots, we're literally talking about affirmative action, where we're taking spots from one person and giving to another based on race. Am I
Yes.
misunderstanding the conversation?
If I can just say one thing, okay, so
What? Okay, go ahead. And then I want to hear from Zath again because she wanted
okay,
to
yeah.
chime in.
So it's not even you can say that, but that is not the only way that money affects people who are in college, right? Yes, you can take out more loans and stuff, but let's say your family falls into hardship. Your parents or somebody dies, right? Or your family is economically
Yeah,
struggling.
that can happen to anybody.
Again, it's
But more
still
likely to
let me
happen to
finish.
some, yeah.
Let me finish. If
Okay.
right. But it can happen to anybody, but it's probably more likely to happen to certain groups, right? And on top of that, that does not. There's no way that a loan that you take out is going to come into that, because when your family is struggling, you are going to drop everything and you're going to go help them. It doesn't matter if you have those loans. You have to be actively making money for your family, really. So
And the other thing is, if you have to drop out, you now you have the loans without the degree to go get a
Yeah.
job afterward
Yeah.
too. So now you're stuck with
that
them,
does suck.
right?
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
But I think it's absolutely an absurd argument to say something that could literally happen to anybody. Like, anybody's mother could get cancer, like anybody's family, somebody in their family could die. I just think that's a ridiculous argument to fall back on, because
but
like
falling on
everybody
hardship though
falling on
is
hardship can
different.
happen to anybody. I don't think that's, I mean, obviously there are people that have issues, that have more issues. But I would say, and obviously, per capita wise, I believe you're right. But when you're talking about the general populations and stuff like that, everybody can have issues, have problems, have hardships. I think that's kind of an absurd argument to come back on when we're literally talking about people being like, obviously you have to make a decision, right? And if that should come into account. If you have a family member that maybe has cancer or something like that, maybe that's a decision you make beforehand before you go into college. If something happens at the moment when you're in college, and obviously that can happen to anybody. So I just think that's kind of silly.
Okay, let me go to Zath.
So
Thank you. I totally missed whatever that was, but thank you so
for
much for the
an
follow,
example,
for the sub, or whatever
like,
that was. You guys are amazing. Oh, I have a list here.
I had to drop
Oh,
out of
Gundam
college
followed. Thank you so much.
because I could not afford to keep going after my family fell on some hardships. I'm not a minority group, obviously, but I was very
Oh man,
poor.
I want to
My
drill.
grandmother died,
I want to
and
drill into this so hard.
2 days later,
sorry.
my ex my ex dumped me, and we had a kid
That guy.
together.
Fuck
So
that guy.
like, I
Oh
mean,
man,
yeah,
I want to like.
I mean, sure, but like, I literally could not afford to keep going to school, because then I had to go out and get a job because I was a stay-at-home mother, and I didn't have a car to keep going to
Oh my
those
gosh.
classes. So
It
like,
sounds awful. It's such a terrible tear
compounds on
jerking
top of
story.
your
yeah, it
goals.
just fucking stacks and stacks and stacks until you can't, like, you have to break something off. So it was school, or it was school.
There's no other option. Yeah, yeah,
there was
exactly.
nothing
And
else.
you literally are proving my point. What I was saying was that we're talking about affirmative action here. Okay, you weren't somebody that
Yeah.
was literally taking a spot from somebody else.
But
So
I'm saying,
I
like,
understand the hardship, which it was actually my point, that hardship can happen to anybody. And I'm actually, I
Sure.
really do feel for you. And I understand that it is hard, and things do happen. I'm sorry for what happened to you, and I'm glad that you are here with us, able to have these conversations. But I just want to make sure we're staying on the point of affirmative action. because it's two totally different topics. Make sure that
True. Okay. James, did you wanna
roasted
say
it in a nice way. I did good. I
Hey,
think that was very good.
something?
I'm trying to think of a way to say it and just say it rather than screaming it and wildly gesticulating because I'm fucking boggled.
Okay, go ahead. Both
I
can be
just-
interesting.
Affirmative action is a plan based on opportunity, not the results they measure. It could take generations of people who have never been to college before, going to college, maybe dropping out second or third semester before their child comes up, and then that child has a better idea of what they're in for than their parent did who had never been to college before. It's saying that you just want to kill affirmative action. It's somewhat privileged because it completely like erases the last like 200 years
I have a
of
question
bad
for you,
education and
James.
bad socioeconomics and redlining and all sorts of fun things that purposely were created to reduce the amount of opportunity that non-white people in the United States of America had for social advancement, not the least of which would be the college and university system as a way to move out of that cycle. So it's about opportunity, not about results.
Okay. I think that personally, I'm gonna weigh in here. I think affirmative action makes sense because of what James was saying. It's kind of like, like you see parents whose kids end up in the NBA. I'm gonna use the NBA as an example, or NFL. Sometimes it'll be like the parent got into college. They played college level
I don't know. I
NCAA
think it's
basketball,
ridiculous. We were
but they
talking about
weren't good
the
enough to make it
graduation
to the
rates earlier.
NBA. And then
It
like
was
they're
a much
they
higher
they
dropout
had
rate
that
for affirmative
experience of
action.
what that was like. And I think that college kind of has the same similar thing where it's like, let's say one family member gets affirmative action, goes and doesn't make it, but they had that experience, they know what it was like, they know the value of going to college, and when they have kids, they're going to emphasize it more, which will hopefully give them,
I think we're about to end the panel here in
to
a little
have
bit, but I think I
people
crushed
of,
it on this panel.
POC or
Colin Powell thing I didn't do very well
people
on
of
because I
color
didn't really know much
to
about him, but I
get
think
these
on
degrees, even though it's at a
Sohcahtoa
lower
and
rate
this one
than the
especially, I did
average
well.
college student. I think that it's good to have people that have
No, I
college
was just
degrees
looking at just
represent these communities and be out there and be examples
with
of.
some
And now we
2005
see
study,
it
but
all
there's
the time
also
of people like
Heritage Study
achieving incredible
Foundation.
things, even though they were marginalized, growing up. And that sets, look at Kamala Harris, for example, right? And as much as people want to hate on her, she's still
I don't
like
think he
has
linked it, so
accomplished
I don't have. I'll have
incredible
to look it up.
things from a
I'll send it
position
in
of
Discord or
marginalization.
something.
So I think that like the more you promote this actually can boost equality in the long run. But anyways, that's my take. All right, I've had enough. That's it. We're wrapping up. All right, I'm gonna go around the room. I'm gonna ask for you. Fuck your closing statements. No one's interested. Just give me your plug and where people can find you, and we'll wrap up. All right. Let's go first to Mr. Biggs.
Yeah, first I just want to thank Dr. Heemterruption for having this. I appreciate it. I know we've only been on like maybe one or two panels in the past, so I was really happy you reached out to me. Thank you to all the other panelists. I know some of you quite well. Others I'm just meeting for the first time. Appreciated your opinion. I thought you were broken. Zenranth, you were amazing. I know we had a little spat here and there, but I'd love to talk to you again sometime. And I'm very familiar with Stardust and Crunge Lord, and I'm glad they were able to have their little spat. But thanks. I'm not sure. I think we've been on maybe one, but definitely give everybody here a follow and a sub. You guys are all amazing. You can find me at Biggs8500 on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. So thank you so much, Dr. Heem.
All right, thank you so much. All right, let's go over to Zatharath. Zathareth. Fuck.
I don't think I said your name
Zathareth.
once right.
All right,
Once,
I'll get it. Don't worry. Thank you so much for coming on. Did you have fun? Did you enjoy
I
the
had so
panel?
much fun. I did.
Awesome.
I was nervous for nothing.
You should. I told you it was chill, and people in chat were really liking your takes. So
Oh, good. Well,
yeah,
that's
definitely pretty fun.
relief.
It was fun.
Go ahead and shout yourself out.
I'm Zathareth. I'm a Twitch streamer, and I do tweeting and social medias. You can find me on everything at Zath. or Zathareth, I should say. So if anybody plugs me in any chats, then that's where you'll find me on everything. So
Alright.
come hang out with me. I play video games and talk to people about stuff.
Awesome. I really
I'm gonna
enjoyed
probably
having
kill
you
the
on.
stream pretty much
Let's
right
go
after
over
we're done
to
here.
Binks.
I'm Binks. You can follow me on.
I want to thank
Talk
everybody for
P1.
hanging out.
You can follow me on AOL Instant Messenger. I think the MySpace is still kicking.
Do you have LimeWire?
I do.
Okay, cool.
I do.
All
But
right.
that's a personal account. Yeah. Yeah. This week, I'm actually doing stuff this week. I usually don't stream much. Monday, I am doing the King of the Swamp competition with critically thinking veteran Maddie Cakes and the Sprouticus. It's a very weird thing. I can't really explain it, but it's tomorrow night. Thursday, I'm also moderating a debate on abstinence with the Sprouticus and Talkworthy to me. So,
Oh my gosh, that's
fun.
Interesting. Very interesting marketing tactic of not knowing how to explain your show. I like that. New age marketing. All right, let's go over to Stardust. Thank you for coming on. I know you had last minute emergencies and you were still able to make it. Thank you.
Yeah, apologies again for
No, it's okay.
that. I do really appreciate being on this. It was very well done and very well moderated. So I really appreciate.
Sorry,
you
I had to
having-
mute you.
Oh no, that's okay. That's okay. That's totally fine. And yeah, I'm Stardust STRDST_. That's me on Twitch. On Twitter, I'm _online. I host Chaos Cast twice a week. The Thursday one is like the Friends one, where we just talk shit, and then we've got a Crown Royale type on Saturday where people compete, and the winner gets the raid-in from me.
I really appreciate
And
everybody for hanging
yeah,
out tonight.
it's
Thank you
all
so much.
good stuff, I guess. Yeah,
All
I
fucking
enjoyed it here.
amazing.
So thank
Enjoy
you
the
all for the
VOD.
stuff,
You
and
guys want to go back
sorry
and
for
watch it
the
again? Watch me crush the debate panel. So fun.
So yeah.
All right, no worries. No, thank you so much for
I
coming
thought
on. I
Crunch was gonna
appreciate
take
it.
over the
And
panel,
yeah,
but I think I did
your
pretty good.
Chaos Cast
But
is
he
a
had his
lot of
stuff
fun.
too. It was cool.
Let's go to Crunch Lord.
Hi guys, I'm the Crunch Lord. Come follow me or don't. But thanks for having me on, Heem. Appreciate it. Stardust, stay mad.
What? I didn't know you guys had.
I'm not mad.
I didn't know you guys have beef. I had no idea.
I don't
No,
think we
no,
do. We're just fucking with each
we
other.
just we just got into it. That's all. It was fun.
All right. And then last but not least, James, go ahead.
I'm James. I say things. I host I produce and host a show called Left of Left for Act TV, which is on YouTube, Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV. Some shit like that. And then I stream here on Twitch like 4 days a week. I say base things. I literally never ever do panels, and I only did this because it was Heemed, and so I figured there would be limited spice, so this would be okay for my middle-aged Caucasian palate to digest.
How'd it go?
It was only moderately spiced. This is this was like Chipotle level. There was
Good. You can handle it.
no Cholula going on here at all.
Nah,
just
alright.
straight Chipotle. Like, yeah. But I appreciate it. Seriously. I'm glad I came out. I'm glad you came
Definitely
on
fun.
yesterday, Heemed. I'm James from the internet. I do stuff. You should follow me because
Definitely give all these people
stuff.
a follow.
And the internet is a
Yes,
one.
they're
by
all
the way.
awesome.
it is here.
By
Yeah.
the way,
Yeah.
You guys are
All right.
awesome.
All right. Thank you everyone for coming on.
Probably just gonna
Don't
clear
forget
it out when it's
Thursday
done.
I'm hosting a fucking crazy cooking show. It's gonna be like Iron Chef where we have two
Iron Chef, that'll be
contestants going at it trying to cook a dish. We're gonna do play-by-play. It's gonna be amazing. That's gonna be Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Lycan, well-known DGGer Lycan is going to be going up against one of my mods in a special
That'll be
cook-off.
fun.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you all.
I'm gonna end the stream
Much
here.
love.
You guys have a good night.
Take care. Brush your hair. And don't forget to sit in
Out.
a chair. Okay? I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.